All right, welcome back to the Finding Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV on YouTube here. Logan here once again with Austin. And yeah, we got a good one tonight. Lot to talk about, lot to cover as per usual. But obviously there's the remnants of the trickle down from the California fires. That's still a big story. We haven't forgot just yet. We're almost in that point where there's just there's other stuff. Football's on, so we're
Man,
about to forget soon. But we haven't forgotten yet. We'll mention some more things. There's the Capital One outage, which to me was hilarious, and it was personally affected me. It didn't affect my wallet per se, but the business I help run with my girlfriend, that was annoying. But yeah, apart from that, we're going to discuss a little bit of the football fiesta that's going on. The stage is set for the semifinals now. Uh, Down to 4 teams. We'll go over what we think all that means, and I think we we might have some more to cover on the fog or nah. Either way, I will have a little bit to talk about it, just really anecdotal stuff, but yeah, we'll see where tonight takes. Of course, we got the inauguration tomorrow, so we're definitely going to be covering that. But without further ado, kick it down to Austin. How's it going, man?
I guess it's going as good as possible for a 9/11. I guess, or one of the 9/11s we get um, per year. You get today, then you get my birthday, the 119th day of the year, then you get September 11th. But yeah, it's going. I guess it's going as good as it could be for right now. I mean, pretty interesting week as we expected. It's kind of been, it's been weird because we talked about the fog. Um, Last week, and I brought up there hasn't really been any fog around here, and that there hasn't been a lot of that going on. And then this week we got it, and we also got the cold this week. So we've got cold weather blast, and we have the fog that has appeared. Um, it's just kind of been it's been one of those weeks where we're coming to such a head with everything, and it's just like I said, I was just sitting outside Wednesday night. Um, and I just happened to kind of look up, and then I could just see outside on the porch just whatever was coming down. Either it was from whatever they're spraying, or the fog, or whatever they're doing right now. But it was like just I mean, I've seen stuff like it before, like particles and stuff coming down. You can just, but I've never seen it look so bad, and just like what are they dumping on us, or what is that? Is that part of the fog? Is that part of this weather weapon? What's really going on here? And I mean, it looked pretty bad. It looked pretty disturbing, but um, it's just one of those things where it's like a lot of people, they would just look at it like it's nothing, but a lot of people just gloss over stuff like that, but they don't really see and think about how bad whatever that was that they're doing. But it's been such a weird week, because that was the same night, Wednesday. There was I was just out Uber and driving around, and there was this crash, or there's this car that was like between like my house and the gym, like not even a mile down the road, and it was just like sitting there with the wheel off, and I didn't know where the wheel was, if it just fell off, or where it was, or they picked it up, but it was just chilling there, and it was like kind of blocking the intersection. I didn't realize it. I just sneaked through the Denny's, went around, I turned my head to see who was coming. I just noticed the vehicle just chilling out in like the intersection a bit with the wheel off, and I thought that was really weird. Yeah, and then I go in the place, pick up the food, and then and then all of a sudden there's this kid in there, and he looks at me, and he's like, um, he just gives me this weird look, and I just was like, I don't know what that was about. And I was on my way out the door, and he said something like, or what'd you say? What was that? And he's like, oh, I just want to tell you, Jesus loves you. I just want to let you know Jesus loves you. I'm just thinking, okay, all right, whatever, and then rocking out with that. And then I walk out, and then I just walk, not even a mile down the road. Um, there had just been this huge crash. There was this semi, and there was this other vehicle that was involved. The vehicle was like flipped over in front of the semi, and there was like two other vehicles that were crashed, like head to head. and this is just down the road. It's just like just a mile. You have the car, and there was that kid and what he told me, and then all of a sudden, like not even a mile down the road, you had this incident, and it was just really weird to have that happen. It's just to just one of these weird things where it's like it's these things that happen in life that that whatever just happened was amazing. You can't explain it, but it was amazing and it was phenomenal. But uh, yeah, and then like I said, tying that in with the fog and the cold this week, it's definitely been a week of turning of the tide. Um, you can feel things shifting quite a bit right now on a lot of levels, um, and I think that was one of the bigger things this week. Um, the kind of the weather shift around here and everything else that's happening and about to happen right now. Uh, with so many things on the line, one of the things that I thought was interesting too was just looking at, the obviously, like the Washington Commanders, how they got their, 666 franchise win.
Mhm.
And then you have the Bills that have also won as well. These two teams, and it kind of brings back, like the dollar crash, the DeMar Hamlin collapse, the Bills, um, the fact that they're in it, and the fact that the Commanders are in it. Um, Washington D.C., with the inauguration. Uh, these are two interesting teams that go along, with the Chiefs as well, and the Eagles. Um, and of course, too, I mean, it's interesting too because they used to be, or they used to be called in the Chiefs Texans game, the Dallas Texans
Mhm.
became the Kansas City Chiefs in 1963. If you watched the game, it was interesting yesterday. The Chiefs had the return opener for kick for 63 yards, and like not long after the score was 6-3. Then the Chiefs ended up winning 23-14. KC equals 14. Um, and it's interesting too because it's the 105th season. The 105 is the 14th triangular number, and
Mhm.
it also played in with Mahomes and Kelsey perfectly. Um, it was 105 days, after Travis Kelsey's birthday. Travis Kelsey was born on 10/5, so he's got the numbers right there. And Mahomes' 105th career win, and Mahomes' birthday leaves 105 days left in the year. So pretty. I mean, couldn't be more by the numbers. Couldn't have scripted any better for the Chiefs. Um, and then like I said, you had the Eagles too. They've also made it. Got to wonder how hurt is Jalen Hurts, but and then you have the Washington Commanders, and then like I said, you have the Bills. So I think this is a very interesting Final Four, especially now with inauguration tomorrow. Um, Watching how this plays out this week. Uh, yeah, I think this is going to be like, and like we've said, anybody, this is very interesting to see, with everything on the line. Are they signaling like with the Bills and the Commanders? Uh, a massive shift or change in something about to happen, some kind of economic collapse, dollars, um, or something else, maybe with the Commanders as well, with uh, Big Trumpy coming back, Commander in Chief. So there's going to be, whether it is, whether the Chiefs win it all and or something else happens here, very interesting the way they have it. Of course, you have three black quarterbacks and a white quarterback too, which also makes
Yeah.
it interesting. You have a mix too, so this is gonna be pretty interesting to watch this upcoming week. I think gonna be pretty sure they're gonna have a number ritual go either way, but I mean I'm still kind of favoring the Chiefs, but anything honestly can happen at this point, especially with Trump coming back tomorrow. I think it's gonna shake things up.
Yeah, exactly. And you're also getting a rematch of the Super Bowl with the in the divisional round or no in the
The conference coming up.
conference championship. Yeah. So you're gonna get a rematch of the Super Bowl between the Bills and Chiefs. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's callbacks to that. Um, of course, you can already like I think about this is how I think about sports is like I can already hear the commentary about it. They're gonna have all the little slideshows and stuff and stuff ready to talk about, oh, Josh Allen's ready to overcome, look at, he remembers what happened in the Super Bowl. He's in it to win it this time, I can, anybody who watches it just wait. That's they do the same thing every single time. And more importantly, for me, for these stupid sports games, um which I'm not a sports hater. I love the game, but not the theatrics of the entertainment that this type of sports are. I played football and I played baseball and basketball all the time. So, but uh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you got that on that side, and then of course um, you have the Commanders who are looking pretty hot, um, blowing out the Lions, uh, going against Philly, and like you were saying, yeah, it's like any outcome, it makes sense for a presidential year, which that in and of itself should open some eyes. It's like, what are the odds that all four teams have like have a tie or a you know well, I mean, just be you got the Commanders, obviously, their names being changed from the Redskins, pretty clearly why they did that. Also, I mean, we haven't even got into why they, probably did that change as well, and why they've, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks are on the chopping block for their name to be changed eventually. Which, anyway, we can get into that some other time. But you got the Commanders, which obviously you got the Commander in Chief, you got the Chiefs,
Yep.
and then you got the bills. What do these politicians and presidents do? They sign bills and dollar bills. And then for those of you who, I mean, obviously the Eagles, it's you can't get more presidential than the eagle. That's
Oh yeah.
the symbol of the presidential, the POTUS, and America. But also the deeper connection being that the flag was sewn in Philadelphia, and Donald Trump has the same birthday as the flag. So
Yep.
there's no, it's there's no real craziness to as to how they put all four teams that have those, you know, those roots, ingrained into their names or their emblem or whatever it is. But it does, it's just a little eye opening. It's just like they're just going to do it, and they're just right in front of your face. They're just going to do it. It's more about their joke. It's more about their symbolism than it is about real competition. Um, just okay. How many people are toast? The Detroit. I have not heard everybody. I whether it's in Zach streams anywhere, it's just constant. Detroit, 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 Detroit. Like, nah, no, 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 no. It's not the Detroit Lions. And I did see Zach Gematria Effect News, of course. When I reference Zach, but I'll have links in the description. But he did his post on the. I mean, just what mockery with the. Obviously, you got the Jalen Daniels. You have the story of Daniel in the lion's den, and you know them getting their 666 win. I mean, it's just these people's playbook is a Bible. It is a form of a Bible. I would say that it's probably three different Bibles, and not three different religions, just three different Bibles because there's different Bibles. But there's apocryphal texts they call them nowadays. The ones the books of the Bible they say they took out for because they're too fantastical or whatever it is. But either way, uh, these storylines play out from a biblical standpoint, every single day. I mean, look at the burning of Hollywood. For people who don't know what the Hollywood represents, you could tie it to the burning bush. You could tie it to ritualistic practices similar to that of like burning sage that witches will do, and not just witches. I understand it's become a holistic new age hippie thing, but there's roots to all these things. And so there's just a lot of biblical symbology going on. And what do you know? Of course, it's the beginning of a presidential term and the beginning of the year. And like we've talked about multiple times, these pendulums swing. And at the beginning of the year, they're at a fight, and what they're fighting for is your attention, all of our attention. They're fighting to get as much subconscious into your head as possible. And you see how that what they're willing to do so.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, the mockery's at an all-time high. It's you just look at everything too. I mean, everything is being symbolized and stretched out and put on the table and spun around a few times here. You have everything at the you have, like I said, you have the Chiefs. Um, so you have history on the line, of course. Uh, the Bills, they symbolize the dollar bill. Um, so you have the depression, economic collapse, reset, digital currency, whatever that role is being played and pushed here. Um, and like you said, um, the eagle for the freedom and the symbol of freedom and all the things the eagle has. And you have the commanders. You have the chief commander in chief in Washington D.C., Trump. So you have everything here, and it's all everything is coming to a head, and you'll see that with everything we talk about tonight. All these stories are one of the same. We've come to this point, and I've been saying it too for the longest time. We're going over the cliff in 2025, and here it is. I mean, and I think that however these playoffs play out and in the Super Bowl, this is going to determine this year, and how things play out and where things go. Because you got to look at it. This, we don't get another. If we ever get another president, if there is another president after Trump, or he is the last one, which I think might be possible here, it might actually happen. 4 years from now, you have to sit here and think, okay, January 2029, where are we? If we're going to own nothing to be happy, I mean, I think this is a massive, pivotal point with which we are at right now, and you can see it and feel it everywhere you go and every day. I mean, like I said, look at this week. I mean, look at the accidents I've seen and the weird stuff that was happening to me, and like I said, whatever they were spraying was coming down, whatever that was. Um, so you have everything coming to a head, and then you have, of course, you have the mass distraction, which all the retards will be watching tomorrow. Their orange Muppet return, and so you have that to add, insult to injury this week, and it's going to be interesting to see where we are. Like I said, 3 months from now, like by my birthday, because I believe that will be the point. We get to April, uh, and we've said this year, 2025, that there's no way this year is going by without them doing some massive stuff like we seen. When Trump took office in 2017, the year that was, the year 2020 was. It's going to be one of those years. Uh, it's going to be like on steroids now, because things are so much worse now, and things are so much. Everything's at an every all time low. Everything is just an all time decay. I mean, um, like I said, the financial situation. So many people are on edge. Everyone's kind of living, paycheck to paycheck, or they're in debt. So you have a massive, issue with society at the financial front, um, and every other front as well. So obviously something has to give, and whatever is going to give is going to give in this presidency. Whatever happens 4 years from now, or what happens in the next 4 years, is going to determine probably our fate, because this is the point where humanity has to this is where humanity has to has to get in the game, because to this point we haven't been responding, especially even in 2020. A lot of people haven't responded to that, and with so many people, about to be deceived again tomorrow, this is unfortunately the pivotal point of all this. Like, people getting deceived by these rigged games. I mean, look at Josh Allen wins the game, doesn't even score a touchdown. He's running. He's like Michael Vick now. Look at that.
And yeah, I mean, very good points. And yeah, and I do think that that speaks to like the bigger issue about all these things, because individually these stories, whether or not it's bird flu, the fires, the the Capital One uh, kerfuffle, um, stupid football, all these things have their individual storylines, but I think that the greater you know main issue is humanity's inability to rise above these storylines and see things for what they are, and realize that we are the only ones that can impact this in we're the only ones that can change the course of what's about to happen. If we sit back and do nothing and spectate, that's what we'll be spectators in the show. It's very similar to just like there's a microcosm of everything. I can think of like people in school, when I was in school, that were just like so much more willing to just sit on the sidelines. And uh and when you do that, you have no idea what's happening in a game. And then you have those who like to sit on the sidelines and think that they can impact the game, and it just doesn't work that way. You have to be in the game in order to have an impact. And there's so many, I'll just say Americans, because that's what the sector type of people I guess I see. I guess anyway, for the most part within the news and everything else. Not to say that that's the truth, but you see that we're just so willing to accept these phony headlines. It's who didn't cut their Capital One credit card in half? Like, who didn't who how are we still allowing this? Who's still getting insured in California by State Farm? Like, I guarantee you there, there's a lot of people that just aren't, I'll say, hip to how this really works. And I'm not blaming the people affected. It's going to take a lot of people um to make a movement, move. But I think that's a lot to do about what we're going to get into. But we're all going to talk about the individual stories and all that. But I'll just say, I think when we're speaking about this stuff, we do have the broader scope in mind, which is we're going to need a lot of people to pull their head out of their ass and do something, and let themselves be seen in the game. Because the more you just sit on the sideline, you could have a skill that is incredibly useful for the cause. But the more if you don't apply, if you no one's going to know that. Only you know that. You have to have enough faith in yourself to put yourself out there. And I almost want to get biblical, because with all these like events happening, it does feel very biblical right now. Um, and but I won't. Let's just say that. But I did notice one thing having to do with football. You notice that the Eagles will be playing on January 26th. Kobe's from Philly, and that's the day he died. So is that a good or bad omen for the Eagles? It's so hard kind of like
Yeah.
understanding these things, because like, so half the time you think, oh, well, it's like any kind of like reference is probably like a leaning towards thing, but then you realize but it's Kobe's death. Is that symbolic of the eagle dying type of thing? Of course he went down in a helicopter. And I mean, I say of course, but speculation. But yeah, I did notice that. So that's going to be interesting that the championships are on his death anniversary. I can't imagine any of these games being, let's see, Fox and CBS. Oh, maybe Kobe won't get mentioned, but I'd be hard pressed to think that he would be mentioned somewhere. He will definitely locally. You'll see, everybody posting their little. It's been this many years since Kobe. People venerate and idolize too many celebrities and sports stars. Don't even see the problem in it. But I did think that that's interesting. Something to look at for sure.
Yeah, it could be more 2020 mockery, and it's interesting too because the Washington it used to be called the Washington Redskins, so maybe this will be an unorthodox week where all of a sudden since they used to be called Washington Redskins, maybe it'll be Washington, maybe it'll be Washington State that's under attack or something. I mean, we
Mhm.
know how these things they can be pretty flexible with these things and stretch them out a lot of ways. I mean, like I said, everything is represented right here, so I think they could go a lot of ways. It's hard to say what how this will play out, but like this to me, February is a real interesting month because obviously the Super Bowl's in February. Like I said, Tone to 500s in February. You got like I said, WrestleMania coming up. I think in like April or March. So you have huge things coming up from February, April, March. So yeah, and who knows? I mean, like I said, we haven't really seen much. I mean, winter could just be starting for all we know. I mean, this could be winter could just be starting now. It could be a late winter. We might, like I was saying, we haven't seen any of the stuff. Like I said, every time we keep getting mocked. I mean, we were talking about the fog last week, and here comes the fog and the cold and all the stuff this week. So whatever we talk about just follows us, and whatever episode it is, we just get the mocking. So it's like this is our 19th total uh, video, and it's our 119, and this is such a like you said a biblical week. I mean, everything's playing out, and like I said, I mean, you don't know where. I mean, 3 months from now it could be shocking where we are.
Mhm.
There could be major pushes from what happens the next couple of weeks, even to the next few months. It's very interesting right now the way they're rolling 2025 out. Um, and there's still plenty of time for things to happen. I mean, like I said, I mean, we're in like the dead of winter right now, so by April, is it going to be spring, or is that going to be like the later part of winter this year? That's another thing I'm looking at. They could drag it out, especially if they do want to maybe get something going, stretch out the bird flu or something. But uh, yeah, I think right now we're at such an incredible moment in time where things, uh, like you said, people to be on board and be participating right now any way you can, especially with people how rare people like us are. It's like I try even like getting people to get into this at the gym too. A lot of like the trainers and stuff. I talk to them and try and get them into this and other people and stuff. So it's just and it's really up to other people. We do our job. With whether we're pounding pavement or doing the podcast or whatever. But for the other people to just spread the word and to get this information out there, or because otherwise, I mean, what's it going to be? I mean, people are never going to catch on. The Chiefs are going to be in the AFC Championship 20 times, and people aren't going to see it. They're just going to think Mahomes and the Chiefs are the best franchise in history or something, and they're not even going to see why they were there. I mean, how many years are we? It's been the Chiefs and the AFC Championship since what, like 2018, 2018, since the Chiefs and Mahomes came in the league. It's just nothing but the Chiefs. So it's time for people to catch on, and it's the same thing with people that are even because if you fell for 2020, you're gonna you fell for COVID in the first Trump go around. People tomorrow are going to be under the deception yet again, and this is the other battle we face: is these people are going to be, well, I mean, whatever's going to happen this 4 years. But last 4 years it was blame the issues on everybody else, spread it around. Now people have to take accountability because people didn't do it the first. It's like if people would have um it's like I heard what Zach was saying too, in his video earlier today. Like people, if everyone had just caught on and read his book from 2020, we'd be in a different spot here 5 years later today. Where do we be today? That's what it takes, and that's what people got to do. Just got to find a way to snap out of it and get out of the rut.
Completely agree. And yeah, it's crazy. It's just like because I won't be participating as far as on the sidelines. I won't be just like watching it happen before my eyes. If they start telling me I need this and I need that and I can't do this and I can't do that, guess what I'm gonna be not doing, and guess what I'm going to be doing? Everything. I'm gonna not be doing everything they tell me to do, and I'm gonna do whatever they tell me not to do. Just same as COVID. I was in Walmart without a mask and getting stares from the Wilford Brimley looking people who can barely breathe and 400 pounds in a mobility scooter. They're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Um, not to be too offensive to people, but that's reality. That's 100% what
Yeah.
happened to me. I'm not just making it up to be brash. It is what happened. And if you see them, I guess we can kind of transition into that, since that is kind of a, you know, remember I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I was just like, watch them just slide bird flu under the rug for a little while. And now the
Yeah.
next thing you hear about it, now it's a big deal. Now they got to shut places down because now it's huge. And the implications, if anyone hasn't heard about this, let me find it real quick. Oops. Let's see. Georgia, which is a scary state to get any kind of news like this from. With we know it in gematria what Georgia's all about. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
think
now,
isn't it happening? It's happening in the town where I think the Georgia Guidestones were from, isn't it? Or that's where the lockdown
mm,
is or whatever.
let's take a
Albert
look.
or
A lot of Atlanta news, like in the last 6 months, it's been a lot of Atlanta.
yeah, it has been.
But yeah, like I was saying, like now they pull it up out from under the rug, and now it's a big deal. And the implications, like I was saying, is you know they're catching it right now. That doesn't mean that no food went out. It doesn't mean that they've, I'm sure they haven't, like storyline wise, they haven't tracked all the food that's already gone out. And uh, so, this is how, think about a zombie movie. This is the like one thing that gets past, and now it's just that the, how all zombie movies love to do that, where it shows you like the nation and it shows you like the dots, and then like bounces, to different states. Like that's what's happening right now. By the way, keep in mind when you guys are watching the news and you guys are taking in this bull crap, think about the movies, because they really have nothing new. These are all productions. So like I was just mentioning, the little infographics they like to give you, like they're in movies too. They do all of this is like movie plot sublines and stuff like that. The more you pay attention, the more you realize how much of a production all of this it really is. It really is just a production, but it's a bad production because all they can really do is copy what already exists. They're not very good at like making new storylines, and obviously, or else people like us wouldn't have all these reference points from the past to constantly talk about, because they've done these things, multiple times. And, there's a lot of people that would think that this is all just coincidence and these things just happen multiple times in our lifetimes. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you. If that's where you're at and you're willing to listen, come and hang out. But if that's where you're at and you're gonna argue that point with, the only thing I know that you would argue with me about is what you know the state tells you, is what the CDC tells you, is what Fauci told you. So I'm not going to be participating in that argument. But not even to destroy you quickly. I'd rather just save my breath, because I might need it with a quadruple mask I might be having to wear soon. Let's see if I can pull up the town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in Elbert County, which is I think where the Guidestones are at or were at.
Watch me have to go to the BBC or something. Oh, here we go. Albert County, you're right. Okay, let's because I mean Oh my goodness. You're absolutely right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a uppercut for you right to the noggin.
Wow. So
European uppercut.
so of course anybody who's been living underneath the guidestones, um, it's obviously it speaks on depopulation. Yeah, it puts a certain twist on it to where even logical people would potentially be like, well, that doesn't sound that bad. But to those logical people, you're not one of them. You have no idea how many, and this is going to come out. This is going to be my Alex Jones rant. You have no idea how many people are underground. You have no idea the network that these people have. You are not one of the 500 million. You're not. I know you think 500 million is a lot. You're not. You're not one of them. I don't care what skill you have. I don't care how good you can weld. I don't care how good, how many languages you can speak, bro. Unless you have a better chance being a royal inbred than, you
Yeah.
know, a Fortune 500 made man did it outside of the system. Still, you're not one of them. So anyway, I'll leave that at that. But obviously, that's what the Georgia Guidestone spoke to was, a reset, basically. From the reset, this is how we need to do things. And of course, you got the World Economic Forum espousing those things constantly, and the different commissions and boards that think that they are better humans than everybody else. And for all we know, they're probably not humans, but that's a different episode, a different topic. But like you said, completely an uppercut here to think that they would, pull this out of their ass, that nobody, you know, the amount of people who even knew about the Guidestones after they blew it the hell up on George Bush's birthday. Still, people didn't know about him as much as they should have. But now they're gonna. Nobody's thought about that. So you you see how they do it. They got to drum up, like I was just saying, just for your to hit your subconscious. Hey, you know, bird flu, Albert County, bird flu, Georgia Guidestones. Just it might seem arbitrary. It might seem stupid that they do that, but it really isn't. It really comes down to like psychological warfare and manipulation. It's almost like training a monkey. It's just like constant pokes. It's constant little sensory zaps to your synapses, and your brain remembers. You might not remember, but that computer in your skull remembers. And when you apply emotion to that data point, it injects the data point. You don't do anything with the data point until they bring that data point out of you, and then you inject emotion into that data point. And that's where you get these drones, these sheeple that have all these arguments that, because they read one article on the topic, because they have that data point in their head and they just apply their emotion to it. And that's how, that's where we get these zombie like people who will argue, you know, for nothing. They'll demonize people who are literally, like I've said before, let us all be wrong. Let the truth seeker, quote unquote, community be wrong. At least, if it's coming from a place of a valiant place. We want to see people wake up, and it's not that's the thing. No group, no amount of people are 100% wrong on everything. So, you know, obviously I think that we're a lot more right on a lot of things, but I'm just saying, like, just to give it the, devil's advocate, if you will. No group of people are 100% wrong on everything. The occult people, they aren't 100% wrong on everything, and so to flat out, dismiss people who are honestly in it, selflessly, not talking about all the online grifters necessarily, but the selflessly people who are just doing stuff, putting out information, trying to tell you about things. the amount of animosity I've gotten from that is not indicative of like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I tell my son all the time because I'm in his life and I didn't have a father in my life like that. When there's a chance for me to impart something on him, I try to point that out to him. I'm like, I'm here to impart that to you. This is like not a given. You would just keep walking. You would just keep walking and make another mistake and another mistake and another mistake without ever anybody coming up to you and saying, "Hey, this is how you solve that." That it's not a given that anybody give you information. So I just think that the animosity is really unfounded. And now that I've pounded pavement with Zach and you, of course, I saw it firsthand, live, the amount of people that are out there to counter something that doesn't need to be countered. Let it, at the very worst, just let it go. Just let it. It's crazy to me, but this is just insane.
Yeah, it's like here we go again. Like I said, with the 2020 vibes. You look at this whole story with wherever this leads. This is going to be very interesting to see where this goes with them pumping this up. Of course, what they do. Bird flu. It's got that 72, the 36, the 117, the 45. Um,
45.
Poultry, yeah, the 45. Um, like agriculture's got the 54, the reflection, and it's got the 72, just like bird flu. Um, interesting person, or well, because it's interesting too, because poultry's got the 127.
Mhm.
It's got the 62, it's got that 35, um, the 37, and then you got Georgia. Georgia's also got the 127, the 37, the 62, of course, the 44, like kill. Um, it was interesting too with the people. One of the people in this, uh, the agriculture commissioner, um, commissioner is also interesting. It's got that 62, uh, but the commissioner Tyler Harper, he's got the that 65, like Kurt Donald Cobain's. That Kurt Donald Cobain's 65. It doesn't go away in that cipher. I'm telling you, I just keep finding it over and over again. It's everywhere, but yeah, this is just this is
I
this
think
is gonna,
Albert County was 65 as well.
yeah, it might be,
Yeah.
yeah, the big five too.
What's the avian? I mean, there's just so many Trump numbers with this bird flu thing, and you can see that they were kicking it up for him too. It's just another
Oh
thing
yeah.
that he's going to get to come in and either be the savior of, or perceived being the savior of, obviously. But yeah, it's avian 88, bird flu 45. Obviously, he was number 45 president. That is, or not the 45th president, but not for the 45th person, but the 45th president.
Yeah, every time we have these selections, there's always got to be some flu or something going on. Just everyone getting sick. They must be all worked up about this selection. That's why the flu just skyrockets every 4 years at the same time.
Telling you, it's mental.
Yeah,
You get these people that it's placebo. It
yeah,
They convince you that you're sick, you'll get sick.
yep.
And for the people that got sick and they subsequently got the jab, they don't want to hear that. And that's that they were counting on that. They're counting on that. The Jesuits. I stopped saying. I'll point out who it is so that I can continue to say they and not sound like everyone else. Jesuits, Catholic Church, the controllers and rulers, the World Economic Forum, the Trilateral Commission, whatever you want to, these clandestine organizations that rule over us. Not necessarily in the shadows. I'm talking about things they did openly. Um, And, if you went along with it, now you are a vessel basically to pull down the rest of the people that have a differing opinion than you because of shame. Shame is a powerful tool, and you don't see shame in the same way you used to see it back when I was a kid. Shame when I was a kid kept most men uh, from being women. It kept, it wasn't cool. It never would have been back when I was a kid. There was obviously the outlying case, but that's what it was, an outlying case. Um, shame kept the population thinner in the early 90s. Uh, so there's certain mechanisms of shame that, are, I think, necessary. And then there's certain mechanisms of shame that are predatory. And the shame that they might be in the same vein psychologically. So you might have that link from when you were a kid. Maybe, and I bet that there is a correlation to that, something happening when, these people were children in order to convince, for them to have such a hot reaction to being pointed out basically that they made a mistake. It's like, nobody wants to hear that they made a mistake. And maybe that's like human to not want to hear that you made a mistake, but with all the proof that's been coming out, I mean, the fact that people are still even willing to start wearing masks again, are you kidding me? All that has been debunked. You guys need to chill. It's like it's been debunked by like CNN. So if that's who you did it initially because of, and they're now telling you it's no point, why are you doing it yourself? Like that's just proof how much they got you. And it's honestly scary to have to walk around the same areas as these people. And you know what they're thinking? It's scary to have to walk around the same area as these people not wearing the mask. It truly is. It's a psychological warfare at its finest.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just the amount of people I see around, just they're just everyone's just like this now. They're outside. It's oh my god. I'm going for a run. I'm going to the trampoline. I'm going to the gym. I'm riding my bike. I need to be covered up. It's just the COVID's just gonna come out of nowhere and just uh, give me a ridge hand to the face or something. It's people are just terrified. What's so interesting too is how they said this was in a um the lockdown here was in like a 6 mile radius. Six, interesting number. It's perfect number. Um, they're them quarantining this area, so this is gonna be, like I said, with whatever that was coming down at Wednesday night or whatever too. I mean, this
ATL
is something.
86.
Oh, look at that. And 33, you got the 21, the 48.
Sorry, just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's just yeah, this is going to be one of these stories that, I mean, if they are going to do something like this, I mean, who knows if it's going to be bird flu or what it's going to be, but will they, like I always say, are they actually going to do some kind of real um or can they make people get sick somehow? Can they actually, are this going to take us out that way? Um, with the Deagle graph showing 2025 and the depopulation graph and it being this year and this time in the mid 2020s. Um, because I mean, that's the thing you have people have to look at. People have to just look at society as a whole and just see how bad the whole like core of society is and how bad things are, on just a plain like playing field. They have to just lay it out and just look at the overall, just how bad where we are. Because I think a lot of people think that these people at the top, they just think that they're just gonna, make all this money and escape what's coming and get out of it. It's like, no, it's like things are so bad. It's just like you said, people are, you're not going to be part of the 500 million. Me and you weren't born for the role. It's like, you know, uh, it's like having the right genetics to be like the strongest person in the world at your size. It's just not going to happen. You can do all the roids and everything, but you're just, you're not going to have the perfect proportions. It's like, no, there's people that were built and designed to be part of this, and these other people like you and me and everyone, we're not meant to be anywhere near that. So, you just have to see where people, it's like I said, you have to go around and just look around at people. It's like, you don't have to even look at the economics. You can just go around and look at people. You can see we're in a depression. I mean, you can just go outside and see that. I mean, it's not like it's, if people want to cover that up, it's like, that's the thing that blows my mind. It's like, okay, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Most people are broke. Most people are in debt. Most people are, you know, suicides off the charts, homelessness. Everyone's life is fucked up, and it's like, yeah, we're not in a depression. No, I think things are going pretty good. It's like they want to cover up everything. It's just like, and then you got the other people that, like I said, tomorrow they're going to be under the, oh, I think it's going to be a great year, right? I think things are just going to turn around. Okay, so what's the thinking here? What's the change going to be? Oh, it's because Trump's in again. It's like, or are you going to be the one that actually makes it great? Are you going to be the one that actually does what needs to be done? That's the thing. People have to, people just think everyone's just going to come around. Someone's going to come around and solve their problems. Like, no, the people that have been causing the problems are going to come around and if you think these people are going to get you out of where you are, they're going to dig you so far down the hole that it's going to be completely impossible for you to ever unbury yourself. And most people don't even know they're buried. I mean, people are thinking and looking up. It's like people they they need to be just ridged hand in the face and taken down because they're delusional. And unfortunately the delusion has the delusional people are really hurting us right now. This is the biggest thing that has to change. Is we have to somehow uh find a way to overcome these delusional people walking around us, because I mean they're going to get us all killed. I mean, people thinking oh, you know Trump's going to save us tomorrow, the next 4 years are going to be great. It's like, I mean, you can already see. I mean, I seen something too. I think because I was talking about these things happening and changing, coming out in society, being pushed. I seen they're coming out now with, like I told you, like these sex bots and sex dolls, and they're being sold for like 177,000 and stuff, and they're starting to get pushed right now and come to the market. And this is the things I'm talking about. And then these are the things that are going to be trendy, and it's going to be the new things. It's like, well, I don't, now, and like I said, with the depopulation, it's, yeah, I just look around on an average day. I mean, it's like half the people I'm looking at, I'm not even sure what they are anymore. So, most people aren't looking good. Most people aren't producing. And then you're going to have these, like I said, and this is something with, like Elon Musk and Trump and what we were talking about, this fake plasticky pushy world that they're throwing on us. This is where they're really taking us. And this is what people have to understand is, this is a deliberate agenda playing out.
Yeah, I dare not click on any of those
Yeah.
websites at this minute. But no, I had seen a headline about that, and I guess I think I saw more of a, not a satire. It wasn't satire, but a more clickbaity thing about how you know sorry someone's already made it his girlfriend, like,
Yeah.
to his social media, and like she's like, what is there anyone doing good in this world? And I mean, the people that do good, keep doing good. Don't worry about it ever hitting the front page of social media or anything like that. That's it's honestly, that's almost like a doom to whatever you have going on. It's honestly become, you could see media back in the day as like a potential way to, further something that you were doing or your agenda. I know that has a negative connotation nowadays, um, but nowadays I almost think that things that get highlighted in the news or on social media, I almost think that it's like almost like a flag. It's like flagging your cause. It's like, "Oh, hey, look at this, just in case. We got some upstarts over here, Don't let this get too big." That's the way I would take it nowadays. And besides, you're not supposed to get more biblical. You're not supposed to do selfless things for selfish reasons. It it muddles the purpose. Just think of it this way. If you found out, like, everything your parents did for you, there was like some ulterior motive you never knew about until like you grew up. And then you find out like they had to do it, or like, they were the mob was like, I don't know. This situation's weird, but I'm just saying, like, you find out that they had an ulterior motive for why they did it, other than just because they loved you and wanted you to succeed. Like it's in the same vein. Don't do things that are perceived as selfless for people when you want, don't wait to do something nice till you have your phone on and TikTok running. Don't wait till you're on a live to do something nice for somebody. And that you see that a lot in this world. And it just completely, to me, it just completely it's like a moot point. It's, if anything, yeah, like I said, it's just a moot point. It makes it it tarnishes it. It tarnishes the human side of it, like the human to human, whatever it is that was happening, whether or not it's a parent to a child, or just being selfless in any way towards somebody. Doing it expecting something in return has always been, a no-no. And hopefully, yeah, whoever's listening, you had parents teach you that. But if not, you're hearing it from me, and it's the truth. Because obviously, just have empathy, and think about it. Think about, like what I said. Would you want to find out that your parents were, or whoever raised you was just doing it? You find out that they were just collecting checks on the side, like your step parents or whatever that raised you or whatever. It wouldn't feel good. But apart from that, yeah, you got this uh bull dookie here. I mean, I don't know what more needs to be said. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. I'm sure. I'm not saying I'm sure sarcastically. I am sure that there will be a lot more bird flu hijinks. Uh,
Oh yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if they throw something else out there to throw it into the mix. A hybrid, a mutant strain. It's they
yeah.
love doing that. You'll hear about the, like, an Australian strain that's like 10 times as deadly and spreads faster, and you know but apart from the bird flu, which we'll have much more to talk about, I'm sure, soon. That point you brought up with this Georgia Guidestones thing, that's still crazy to me. It's hard for me to get past it. There's other stuff to talk about, though. um I guess we can move it into what do you think next? The service outage? Anything more on the
Um,
fires?
yeah, I guess we could get into the fires, and then we'll go into after the fires, we'll talk about the technical glitch problem,
Mhm,
the Capital One, and then the TikTok and Elon Musk thing. But
mhm,
yeah, I had a couple things on the fires. Well, obviously, uh, this little bit here, the LA fire, of course, on the 14th, of course, the LA fires, the toll hit 25.
mhm.
Again, more symbolism. The 25 we've been talking about every episode. It's just everywhere right now. Um, and of course, it would be at 4 p.m. When else are they going to release it? Got to be 4. Um, fire, of course, it's got the 38, the 29, the 70, 25. Death, 25, of course, 38 as well, 20 to 97. So, um, and of course, uh, the fire began on the 97th day of the mayor's age, the 25th prime. Also, the death toll is updated, of course, at 4 p.m. Like I said, um, and 4 we all know is associated with death. Um, LA also equals 4.
Mm.
It's like the Rams died. It died today there in LA. They got knocked out. They got uppercutted out of there. But yeah, this is a story that I now you want to talk about an uppercut. This is just a ridge hand knockout to the face. It's just a
Bring it on.
I don't know if you heard about this one. This little blue van that survived the fires. It was called a Zool, the Volkswagen. Um, it somehow survived the LA fires. Um, it was somehow left unscathed. Everything else around it was burnt down and was burnt up.
Oh yeah. I mean, who's ready to take that photo?
Yeah, this is quite the story here. Um, yeah, supposedly, I mean, there's two California friends were shocked to see their Volkswagen camper had mysteriously survived the raging LA fires. Everything else was left burnt to the ground, destroyed. Uh, the girls, I guess, the one that had the little Volkswagen, Megan Crystal Weinraub. She was 29, of course. Um, Got to get that 29 in there. Yeah, she had her. I know she had a dog too. Um, but they were gone. She backed her bags, escaped the devastating fires. At the moment, she took her dog and some dog food, and her car just sat there, the Volkswagen and stuff. A 1977 blue Volkswagen Type 2. Uh, and then it was days later, her friend Preston Martin, who was 24, who she bought the van from, thought it was crazy because to see a photo showing the van still there. I guess her neighbor had ever took a picture of it, and that they were just like they were shocked that it survived. Um, and then there was it was left unscathed. There was a little soot, I guess, on the windows, but that was apparently it. But everything else was like unscathed. Um, yeah, and they're like making a big deal about how it should have been destroyed and burnt up and gone. Everything else somehow had survived. And they called it the name of they said it was magic. They said it was a magical little Volkswagen, and it was called Azul, which is Spanish for blue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean it was January 5th, like 2 days before they were like surfing and stuff. They went up and were doing all kind of stuff, and they thought, of course, like I said, that it was destroyed and it was burnt up. But then once they got their picture sent to them showing it was still there, um, just they thought it was crazy. But it's just such a story. Um, Azul, the name of the little blue Volkswagen's got the 60, like the 60th selection. It's got the 48 there, the Illuminati and Trumpy, and then you got the 21, like Jesuit. Um, Volkswagen's got the 51, like conspiracy. Um, it's interesting too. They said it was like a Volkswagen camper, and Volkswagen camper's got the 68, uh, the 85 camper equals 56 and 29. Interestingly enough, um, and then like I said, her name,
Oh,
uh, Megan Crystal Wine Raub or Rube Rub, whatever that is, but uh, it has Megan Ryan Rub has the 74. Uh, Megan's got the 40 and the 95. Um,
I just think it's hilarious that they put their stamp on this one with this stupid story.
Oh yeah, Crystal's got the 110, the 29, and look at Wine. Look at her last name, Wine Rob. It's got the 123 and the 51 together for conspiracy. The 93, the 39 reflections.
I missed the name. Was this Crystal with like a K or something?
Uh, Krystle.
Okay. Like
Crystal.
what? That is not how
Crystal.
you, I was already spelling it a weird way, thinking that I was gonna be ahead of it. But that is a new one. Crystal. Oh my
Crystal.
goodness.
Crystal. Crystal meth.
Hmm. That's blue too. That's a good point.
Oh,
That's
and then
that
and
was a
then
joke, but
yeah, and like I said, the wine rub's got the 123 to 51. You got the conspiracy right together. The
how do
93
you
to
spell that?
39.
Wine rub?
Wein.
Oh, that's all I needed to know. I can tell what she's all about, but how do you spell the rest? Sorry.
Raub.
Yeah, Weinraub. I would say that's a specific person. Yeah.
And like I said, that 65 just doesn't go away again. Her friend Preston Martin's got that 65 in the same exact spot. The Kurt Donald Cobain just keeps going over the Kurt Donald Cobain there in that 65. Doesn't stop. Preston, it's got the 35, the 37.
So
Martin, of course, has the 42, like Jesuit, like Austin. And notice too, her dog's name, Bodhi, Bodi. It's got the 30, the 21, 78, 24 Jesuit numbers.
yeah, I would say so. Yet the body of Christal, the
Yeah.
body of Christal survived. I
Megan.
think about those things. I think about those things when I hear these types of weird stories that just don't deserve any point to be in our news. Obviously people are drawing similarities from the Lahaina fires, and rightfully so. It's the same shit, guys. Fire tornadoes. People don't remember the fire tornadoes in Lahaina and the fire hurricane and everything. Once again, people look up Operation Gomorrah. Um, anyway, um, there were stories, of course, about them, about how the blue things were surviving in that, and um, the trees weren't getting burned nearly as bad as you would imagine from the photos they're showing you. And think about the photos they showed us in both. You had photos from people that were out in the ocean showing you that the waves were on fire. Excuse me, what dry incendiary burns on top of water? It's none, is the answer. None. So obviously there was some sort of uh, accelerant, that got into that was in the within the water as well. But anyway, yeah, these are just jokes of the stories, but you obviously you run the similarities. There's just so many, and um, hey, you give me this story. Oh, what I was gonna say is there's the lady who painted her power lines, and her house is like the only one that survived. For any of you who don't remember, there was a tornado that I
Dora.
think it was.
Or,
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah. Dora.
the Dora Explorer.
Her name was Dora, and she, survived Hurricane Dora, and Dora the Explorer was stupid. It's just crazy how they do it, but yeah, people who might have forgotten there was, I think I want to say it was like Tennessee, or I could be wrong, but there was a big tornado, one of the bigger ones that they love sweeping up these trailer parks. But yeah, it was sort of similar to that. It looked like a large flat land living rural area, and like the only house that survived was just one lady's house survived. They love doing this. They love doing it. You will not find a story like this that there's not one miraculous house surviving. And to that point, since I keep mentioning biblical things, I feel like that is a little bit of a bait and switch for people that are prone to hearing a story like that and having just an instant, there's two sides to everybody. People are going to be either conspiratorial or just see the negative side of it, maybe not conspiratorial, but they'll just, see the negligence or, just take it as a whole and just have a bad reaction to stories like this, whether it's sad or angry or whatever. And then there's, people that might lean on one form of faith or that might hear a story about one miraculous house surviving and then apply their emotional reasoning to that story and say, look, they almost take it as a sign, you know what I mean? When the sign is that there is a group of people that like fucking with you a lot and they do it a lot. And these stories always have something like this. And that's not to take away from the idea that, you know, here, no, it is to take away from that. Actually, it is completely to take away from that. I'll rescind what I was just going to say because I am firmly in belief that the God that I prescribe or subscribe, whatever the word is, to would not do something this petty. For me to believe that there is, a God, a creator type God, I refuse it without being shown, firsthand. I refuse to believe that a God would be so petty as to show a sign in this way. But you'll have people who, they look at somebody like me and they'd say, "Oh, my faith is strong. I have such strong faith and beliefs." Yet they fall right into a Jesuit trap. It's just like, okay, well, there goes your faith and beliefs. It's like, see where that takes you at the end of the day. I can go through a million pictures of the churches that were allowed to stay open. They all got shut down. Not all of them, but they all, during COVID, they tried to shut down churches and that got like nixed right away, but they tried, and that was like a big, we're America, we have right to religion, blah, 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 unless you wear a burqa and then you don't have any rights. But anyway, they, they all wearing masks, sitting 6 feet apart in the pews. These are the people with faith and religion and they got the story right. They got the right guy watching over them, but they better wear a mask because he can't protect from stuff that small. The little COVID thing, he can't do anything about that. It's just like, where's your faith? And I'm not trying to be, and trust me, I'm not trying to just be a downer. And this might come across as like an anti-Christian or anything like that. I would say I'm closer to Christian than any other religion out there. It's just I can't. I'm not jumping in. I'm not jumping in wholeheartedly. I think as a collective of people, it's our job to take what we have and create a a more easier to not easier necessarily to understand, but something more with what we know. These things should be more apparent. There's parables have their purpose, but the fact that we still to this day, and I say to this day because my YouTube, I don't know if maybe somebody will resonate who's listening. My YouTube, every once in a while, it just gets. I think this is common potentially, but it just gets like taken over. I'm not the person who even controls it, and it just like resets it with what I perceive as what they want you to see and what the subconscious programming they want you to see. And of course you can retrain your algorithm and just never watch those things, but the odds that nobody watches any of the videos that they just randomly recommend is low because people have way too much free time to just peruse videos. But it's just been so much religious stuff. There's this whole thing going on with. I think I'll maybe try to talk about that next week because I've been trying to look into it, but I've been so busy with stuff. Anyway. But yeah, it's just been so biblical. Like I was trying to say, there's still scholars debating all of this stuff to this day. I can't believe it. I can't believe that we live in a time where the hover cars that we have are. I don't know if they even have one yet, but it's just like the things that I thought we would be are we're just living in, you look at AI, like you mentioned, the sex bots and these things, and it's just like, okay, well, that's one side of it, but like just the fact that we knowing that we are just the like testing phase of the garbage. It's just like, man, I'd much rather just be in a war against Terminators than this shit. I would rather be at
I
the end than this.
Yeah, I mean, you sent me that this week too. That that text message too, where you're saying how things have just changed so much since your childhood. That's unrecognizable. It's just that's what I was thinking all week too. This week, just just I just miss like I used to look forward to things even before 2020, even like a few years ago, like 2020. I just used to look forward to things, man. Like it was just exciting. It was just I just it just felt like there was a life to live, and it's just you look at the way life is gone, and how people it's just like, and even I reflect on myself, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not doing amazing, but it's not like I could be doing so much worse. I mean, I'm in great shape. I'm pretty damn good health. I'm all the things I can do, and all the things I have in life, I could be doing a whole lot worse. Yeah, I'm not doing that great, but I just look at the world and where we are and how bad things have gone, and the way things have gone. That's just the thing. I mean, to think that, to see where people messed up in life, it's just like it's just like this is the thing. You have to pay for it. You mess up that bad. I mean, and I've made everyone makes mistakes. Everyone fucks up in life. I'm not perfect at all. I got tons of things wrong with me. I fucked up so many times, but then I look at these other people. It's like, man, that bad. It's like it's that bad. Like these people are that bad. It's like, wow. It's like you just it's like I always say. I always just gave people more credit. It's like it's like the I go back and it's like I used to, it's like I like people a lot more. I live people a lot more, and as time has gone on, it's just like I just want to just like be more isolated and away from people and just, say fuck it. It's like I used to give people, I used to like people, I used to give respect people, credit people. It's like I was saying, like how I used to Uber around, and it was fun. I had a good time. I liked, people came out, people talked, people were social. It wasn't that, like I said, like 2017 was shit, 2018, 2019 was shit, but it was still way better than what we are today. And yeah, everything ever since 2020, people don't, they don't come outside. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to do anything. It's just, everyone is just what they've done to people. It's just like, wow, I just never thought people were just gonna fold up and just be like lawn chairs and just be put away. I mean, the way they have. I mean, it's such a sad way to, watch it go down. It's like I said, you see it every day. I mean, they've put people away so many ways, whether you're just, you're walking around, you gotta cover yourself up, you gotta hide because, COVID could just come out of nowhere and just, you know, uppercut you off your bicycle, or and you got the people that have just, maybe they don't have a sex robot, but they've just gone the gender fluid change gender way. They've just come to that, or they don't know what they are anymore. And then you have the other people. It's like, whether they're obese or that they suicide themselves, or their life is all messed up. It's just, and that's just the thing. I just look at how bad and where the world, like you said, I mean, why couldn't we just, why couldn't we just had the fucking, world wars, and our generation just got the shit over? It's like, why can't we just have a fight already? Why can't we just get it on? I just, to watch this drag out is just, it's awful. I mean, it's really sad. And it's like, and it's just, the thing is, it's like they've made everything just so condensed. I mean, your options now are just, you're screwed. I mean, it's like I said, what so many people just think they're gonna hide behind, money or dollars, and they just think that's all there is to life. I mean, people have no idea what life is or how to live life, or you just look at most people. I mean, their life is, for the most part, it's shit, or that they're in a, shit relationship, or their marriage sucks, or their kids are all fucked up too. And it's just, you see the dysfunction everywhere. I mean, you can't hide the dysfunction. They're pushing it, and the mental illness is out of hand. I mean, and then you have all these people. It's like there's so many people struggling because, for X amount of reasons, but that's not something you can mask. So many people just, all they care about is it's like getting having a brand new vehicle and a big rich fancy house and all this, luxury and all this bullshit, all these people chasing this, you know, this materialistic world. Um, and nobody knows how to just, make do with what you got and how to turn, something, something little, and just, make something out of nothing and do a lot with a little bit. People just the way people's minds are, where they're at with things, what they want of a life. I mean, it's just they've made life just so unfun. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, it's hard to look forward to, like, talking to a lot of people or having a lot of people in your life anymore, because it's just like, you can't deal with these people anymore. It's like it's like if we have to go back to, like, if we went back to, like, COVID to now to, like, the way things were before, it's like, before as much as I hated people, I mean, it's like I didn't hate them like I do now. Now it's just like these people that hide in their house. It's like I want to kick your door and just wring your neck already. It's like, come on out, come on out, come
Can you
get some.
breathe better now?
Yeah, you want my boot on your neck? Now you're breathing. Now you feel.
No, no, you make good points, and I'll try to piggyback on what you were saying about doing a lot with a little. That exact thing right there, that is where appreciation lies. You
Yep.
cannot appreciate an iPhone 19 when the 20th is coming out in 3 months. You cannot appreciate your 60-inch TV when you're upgrading it to a 70 within 2 years, or that's being generous. That's, like you were saying, making all this money, and this isn't just against money or even capitalism or anything like that. The idea of free enterprise, which doesn't exist in our society right this minute, but that's not to say that that's not an okay concept. Um, the same way that communism is an okay concept, and I'm far from communist, but there's an okay concept within it. The same with capitalism, just like the cow capitalism. And I'm not some hippie either. I'm not some, freedom fighter gluing my hands to a BMW either. I'm not, I'm I'd like to consider myself nowhere in between them, and also, you know, I don't want to be in the same frame as them. So whatever category doesn't exist within them, but I can recognize that there are good points to everything. There's logic in everything. You just got to sort through it. Nothing is wholly logical, but when you find the logical points, then you can apply that to yourself. But what I was saying about appreciation is that you find it, having applying that with what I was saying with money is like you can have appreciation and make good money. It's just I think you lose your appreciation and you lose, part of your humanity chasing that bigger, better thing. And that's where you lose. Once you lose the appreciation of it, that's when your job becomes dull. That's when your
Yep.
purpose becomes dull. That's when all these things get desensitized and you realize that you're just doing it to do it. You're not doing it for any kind of payoff. And when one of these days, you're going to come face to face with either, getting older in some form or fashion, you're going to come face to face with yourself and realize that none of this stuff that we're using, interacting with is what this is about. This is not what this is about. Like you're saying, you're in good health. That's one of my major goals is to get back to a better place before I'm 40, which is fast approaching because it doesn't get easier. No
Right.
year is it going to be just like, oh, it gets easier randomly at 38. You're going to
Yeah.
struggle from 31 to 37, but 38 you're just going to get full of energy, and you better
Like,
use
got some
that
roids
year.
in you.
Yeah, you better use 38 to really get back into shape. No, it doesn't work like that. So, you've inspired me in certain ways too, as far as that, because a lot of what you say, and I know you have a pessimistic point of view sometimes, just like everyone. I would say it's more human to have a pessimistic point of view than an optimistic one. Anyone walking around thinking too optimist, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I kind of wish I envy that a little bit, but that almost feels like blissful ignorance, and I'd much rather not be blissfully ignorant than I would be just a pessimist. But yeah, losing appreciation for things because of money, that's one way to do it. Um, there's several different ways to do it. Ego, an inflated ego, whether or not you're making money or not. If you have people blowing smoke up your ass and you take it to heart and you forget, maybe what got you there, or maybe uh what you used to almost like a childlike mentality of certain things. You got to maintain part of your childhood. Obviously we can't be walking around shitting ourselves and walking like penguins, but I mean just like having a, I guess it's in some ways it's a positive outlook on life, but what I mean more is just like a realistic, logical look on life, because that's one thing that people don't realize about like little kids is they're so much more logical than anything else. Like everything they do is based on like how something will work. That's all they care about, and that's all there is. That's all there is. And once you lose that, and you can't do a lot with a little, and you can't do anything with a lot. Once you can't do anything with a lot, you're fucked because you're
Yeah.
so far away from learning. Having appreciation for doing a lot with a little. That was a roundabout way to say that, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just, I just, you know, to me, it's just, I just can't get along with the average person, just the way they see shit. It's like to where we are. I mean, it's like I have to walk up to them and say, we're at war, right? It's like even people that, I don't, if you scratch or dent my car, am I going to freak? Am I mad? No, we're at fucking war, dude. I mean, I don't care about petty shit like that anymore. We're past that. Okay, there's someone telling you you're going to own nothing and be happy in a few years. How does that make you feel? I mean, it's like picture we're at a bar, and then it's like you got you got big Sean O'Hare sitting over there, and you're gonna go walk up to that fucker and say, hey, you know what? Your fucking kick suck. You're a fucking loser. You suck. You're gonna talk all this shit to this guy. It's like and expect not to be punched in the face or beat up. It's like that's where we are. I mean, I just can't believe it's like this is where we are. I'm sitting here watching this like bar fight that should be happening. Like, big old Sean O'Hare should be wringing your fucking neck right now, but he's just like sitting there and just like letting you just like bitch slap him all over the face and spit in his face and just you know kick him around. I'm just like I'm just shocked. I mean, my jaws hit the floor. These people just they don't have any life in them. They don't have any fight. I mean, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, people are just so worried about such stupid shit. I mean, it's this big. It's like I say, it's all this big competition. It's all this like I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to be me and do me. And if that ain't, if I can't be me, then I don't need to be here. That's the way I see it. Like, if I can't be who I'm designed to be and supposed to be, then there's no point in me being here. That's how everybody should be. They should be fighting for their own individuality and what they stand for and what they want out of life. And they shouldn't be living this, uh, I got to keep up with the Joneses. Oh my God, that guy got like 12 brand new Corvettes over there, man. I gotta do better. I gotta get like 24, man. It's like, that's where people are at. It's like I gotta get more money. I have to get more cars. It's more this, more that. It's just how much shit do you need? I mean, how much shit do you want? I mean, focus on yourself. Get in good shape. Find just take care of your health. As long as you ain't broke. I mean, you're pretty much doing all right. And people just they don't have the right mentality. They don't have the right mindset. They're just in this lollygagging world. Even if they're doing really well for themselves, they're successful. They just care about the money. They don't understand that we are at war. That and then you get the people. It's like I don't get it. It's like, well, COVID didn't affect you. 2020 didn't affect you. It's like, how did that not make you mad? I mean, where did you go? What were you doing? What happened didn't wreck your life? That's what I don't understand. It's like these people somehow think that it's like, oh well, as long as I mean, what's your plan? Who are you? What are you even doing? I mean, are you like a transformer son? You're gonna just fold up and blast away to somewhere else? I mean, what do you think? I mean, people are just the delusions are just ridiculous, and it's there's yeah, it's like tomorrow. It's like you're gonna have people tomorrow, and then the next few months, whatever happens, people are gonna eat it up and buy it up, and they're gonna suck it right in because oh well, Trump's back, and well, it's going to be someone else's fault because the damn sure ain't us anymore. We're not doing it. I mean, it's fucking China, man. They suck. They can't even build anything. See that Great Wall of China? It's falling apart. See, they're garbage. We're better. I'm number one. See, here's Trump. Here's our speech tomorrow. It's going to be indoors because he can't earn his money outside like a real man. It's too cold for him. You know? I mean, it's disgusting. It's just despicable.
I think there is something to be said. I mean, you make great points, of course, but there is something to be said that he's not, he's not going to be doing it in front of the big Washington D.C.'s big
All right.
erect dick like all the other presidents do.
Yep.
Um, whatever those, what the hell are those things called? The Egyptian retarded skinny pyramid thingies. Like anyway, uh, it is interesting that he's not, there's something to be said. And obviously he's doing it in Capital One Arena. And I think this is a good way to transition into that next topic. But just the idea that he's doing it his way, and he's doing it where in the nation's capital at Capital One Arena. And meanwhile, who the hell thinks about Capital One that doesn't have to pay a credit card bill? Nobody thinks about them, but right before they want you to think about them, all of a sudden they have a huge story involving them right before Capital One Arena Trump Day. You get this Capital One financial oopsie.
Putting the cap on the cap.
That's all cap. You're right. Damn. What are they like blocking? Okay, I guess you just look up outage and it comes up, but not Capital One. You Google Capital One, it's just like, you want to sign up with us? Look at all the top 5 things are just like, hey, who want a credit card? Hey, you want to join? Yeah, Google. Nothing about, so nobody you think is Googling what's going on right now. You really think so many people are just Googling, I want Capital One. I should Google their name. Fucking loot. I hate that. But yeah, you got this, 2-day, and I will say anecdotally, they in some way are response or owners or whatever, however that works, of the payment processing that we use at our restaurant. And so these 2 days our employees weren't being paid either, of course. And they sandwich it in between the holiday, so the banks aren't going to be open Sunday or Monday, and they do it right on.
Yeah.
These things are not accidents. Come on, people, these are not accidents. But yeah, there's enough things that are just surface level, ritualistic things that are about this. One thing I do want to make one connection, because I mentioned it to you through that text the other day. But keep this in your head, guys, in your mind. I don't know if anyone's ever covered this or realized this, but Jennifer Garner, 2 days into the LA fires, she was crying, "Oh, woe is me. Oh, I lost a friend in the fire." It's like, you don't have to, it's like, no proof. It's just whatever. Sure, you lost a friend in the fire. Okay, of course. And meanwhile, I could get into it. I don't want to get into the tabloid stuff about it, but needless to say, all of her tabloid stuff recently, like days recently, has just been about her love life and garbage. And then she lost somebody in the California fire. Meanwhile, she's the spokeswoman for Capital One.
Yeah.
And she famously likes to say, "What's in your wallet?" Well, the meme going around is, nothing, because no one
Yeah.
can access their money. So, I mean, that's not, arbitrary either, that you have, of all the celebrities, there's only a handful that really came out with anything in these LA fires. It's almost like they use this as an opportunity to just like slip away from the limelight. And why would they want that? We know these people want nothing but the limelight. So why would they ever want it out of the limelight when it came to their homes burning down? Anyway, she was one of the ones that spoke up during it. There was only a few. Was it Mel Gibson, who's now making the rounds, and um, yeah, Jennifer Garner. I know that there was a couple more that spoke up either about their houses or other people's houses or just the what it was as a whole, celebrity wise. But other than that, you didn't really hear anything much from the celebrity uh, aspect of it. But also keep in mind that this is like Malibu and the Hollywood Hills, close to the Hollywood Hills. Um, Rich, affluent people, regardless of them being a movie celebrity. But keep that in mind that Donald Trump has been you know seated on this with SAG-AFTRA, since early on in his career. I guess you could say it hasn't always been political, but his just career in the spotlight. You could say very similar to Ronald Reagan, who he does MAGA just like. But they've both been heads of SAG-AFTRA or seated members or whatever it is, um, which is the Screen Actors Guild. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, but which is Hollywood and their any yeah guild. You find out what these things are all about. It's just so strange. It's honestly so strange, but I can't get into all that. But just more another tie-in is what I'm trying to say is because you got Trump doing the Capital One Arena. You have a Capital One spokeswoman coming out saying the fires killed her friend. It's just not a coincidence. They love to weave these things through and just keep weaving. Um, and I say weaving, purposefully too, because in my opinion, anybody who knows the story of Arachne, I think it's Greek. Um, she has a lot of I think that there's similarities to her and America, the symbolism of America as well. And I can get into that at a later date, but they do have a gematria connection as well. Let's see if I can show that. So anybody who wants to do a little dive into that, I might have something to show for that within the next few episodes. If I can keep track of all myself, I'll make a note. But that's a kind of a turn I went down not that long ago because I'm not well versed in anything too much, but I have a lot of different. I stick my toes in a lot of different pools, and so I hold gematria very highly, but that's not to say that that's the only deciding factor in what forms my thoughts and ideas about the world around me. There's a lot of things, and I don't think that should be for anybody. I don't think anyone should be all in on any one thing. I think that's that cult mentality.
Exactly.
But did you notice anything numbers wise, or do you just want to talk about this?
Oh yeah, there's some interesting numbers with this and in the TikTok thing and everything. Still, the interesting thing. Well, it was in. Well, it was founded. Um, well, there's more than 3,400 outages reported. Um, and I think it was up from around 21,000 on Thursday. Um, 21 has just been everywhere. I mean, 21 is just the number. I mean, um, and the Jesuit suppression happened on July 21st. Capital One was founded July 21st, 1994. So 3 months after Cobain died, right? All time I was getting in the womb or is in the womb or just coming into the world. Kind of interesting. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, the Capital One Financial Corporation's got the 501 um, 177. Tyson's Virginia is where it's out of. It's got the 201 and the 177 as well.
What was it?
Uh, Tyson's Virginia.
Tyson's.
Yeah, Ty, and
Oh
then
yeah, I got
Sons, Sons.
it. And then of course, you got the chicken going
Yep.
on. Tyson being the biggest.
Yep.
This is ridiculous, guys. I didn't even know this part. This is hilarious.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it couldn't be any more in your face. I mean, I told you it's a beat down tonight. These stories are really it's like a belt whooping. It's just brutal. Tyson's Virginia, you got the 201, the 75, the 177, the 87. Service outage. Um,
Mhm.
that's the 201 and the 75 as well, and the 60. Don't forget the 60 for the 60th selection. You got the Jesuit order, 177, 201. Of course, you got the 84 in there. Um, it was just like Klaus Schwab's got the 120, the 69, like Illuminati, and the 177. So the 177 is all over this, um, and it's to the date can be written like 21/7 or 217. Um, and of course, like I said, the inauguration moved to Capital One Arena. It's 217 days after Trump's June 14th birthday. Um, Capital One, of course, equals 42, like Austin Jesuit, and 57. It's the word capital is interesting. It's got the 26 too, like
Mm.
God and Cobain and COVID. It's got the 62, the reflection, the 127, 46, like sacrifice. One got the 47, the 11.
What I was
Richmond.
thinking was sort of interesting about it is Capital One. That you don't capitalize numbers, but in gematria you can. Like a capital one is a capital A. So I always thought that it was an interesting name that it has like more to it because for anybody that's not in the know, names of these corporations and their symbols that they use, if anyone doesn't know, like they use the symbol of Saturn as their I guess I can show it. That is a symbol, the Saturn symbol represents the Saturn's ring or the scythe of uh Uranus or Saturn, I mean. Um but these names are not just like arbitrary random like things. Um so that I do find it interesting, almost like a cultic that they use a name like Capital One. That doesn't even like make sense technically, but it's almost like they're telling you that they are, they use cryptic language to speak. A capital one, people, a certain echelon of people will understand that one means a. Anyway, it's just something I thought about earlier.
Yeah, this story is it's just all tied together in so many ways. Um, you look at even the word service. I mean, service too. It's got the 81, the 36, the 108, the 45. Again, there's nine in every cipher adds up to nine. Um, and you look at outage. Outage got that 69, like Illuminati, like Klaus Schwab. You got the big
Schwappy.
swab tires. You got the big outage. Um, yeah, and then like I said, you got the inauguration being moved indoors, and then that news comes out on RFK Jr.'s birthday. Um, and it's also a 63 date numerology. Um, going with JFK, being assassinated in 63. The ceremony take place in Capital One Arena, equals 63 Capital One Arena.
Mm.
Um, and you got Holy Roman Empire equals 88, 74, like big Trumpy.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because it's like you're moving it to an arena.
Right.
That's very Roman of you.
Yeah, and it's also 218th day of Donald Trump's age. Um, and Holy
Mm.
Roman Empire supposedly folded on August 6th, 1806, 218 years ago. And on the 218th day of the year, uh, and the last guy to go inside to do this was Ronald Reagan, number 40, and that was 40 years ago.
Mhm.
So you had the guy who ran on MAGA. So you got both guys running on MAGA, and that was number 40 years ago. So you got kind of the death number there, 4. I mean, this is a huge story for many reasons. I mean, the mockery couldn't be higher. I mean, uh, with a story like this, everything coming up, and then the guy who's basically the Grover Cleveland with the you know there was the economic collapse, the um, under the economic devastation under Grover Cleveland. Now you're about to see it with Trump, and you just see the stage being set with this story in so many ways. To even like I said, how they're bringing it indoors, um, doing things differently. They're showing symbolizing change. Things aren't going to be the same. Things are about to change. Symbolizing a difference here. Something happening, and then you have um, of course just the outage the itself. Um, just to add insult to injury, because you have like I said, the debt in the economic uh, catastrophe we're in, and then you have a story like this, and then so this is just adding fuel to the fire. And then, like you said, you kind of were involved in this too. With running the business and stuff, and this is what these people do. Just anything to disrupt your life and to screw you over. I mean, it's just like when they have your say you got AT&T like I do, and then they have AT&T outages everywhere. It's just another way to mess with you and screw you over and take advantage of you. And this is what the story is all about. I mean, uh, of course, Capital One, the capital, Washington D.C. and everything going on. Just the symbolism in this is massive. And then like I said, you got the Washington Commanders picking up their 666th franchise win. It's like, um, anybody want to take a sip out of the coincidence juice on that one? It's like, yeah, this is a real bitch slap story in the face of a lot of people. Um, Such people had to deal with this, and this is what is to be expected down the line because of what they want. I mean, it's like they're telling you what you do when the grid goes down. It's like what you gonna do when the cap comes off the Capital One and you're out of luck.
Yeah, and for anybody that's confused here, I mean, we're on a like a merry-go-round. The reason there's deja vu in this world is because these things are just repetitious in nature. I still remember the Spurs. I remember Greg Popovich 666th win, and just nothing comes of it. It's just like water under the bridge. Or people have already forgotten about all these. They love setting up these 666. You know how long it takes them to do this? You know, 666 wins. I mean, total games they have more losses than wins. So it actually took them long. Like these plans are so far in advance for that for their 666th win to get to land the day before the inauguration when their name has been changed to the Commanders. People got to think these things through. It's kind of like you'll the more you stop seeing coincidence and everything, the more you'll have an appreciation for how connected certain things really can be, even things that seem like they aren't connected or shouldn't be connected in some ways. You'll find, you know, I guess it's a fine line between that and paranoia, but I think there's a level of paranoia that everybody should have because nobody should be walking around um, like we're in the Garden of Eden and trusting every snake that we talk to. I'm keeping it biblical today, boy. I got more, but yeah, yeah. There's just so much happening all at once, and it's for good reason. It for anybody also that doesn't understand these are great. Like it's a great moment. It's a historical moment. They already got the books written for this moment. They already got the headlines for this moment. They already have the ripple. It's up to us to be a chink in the chain. We can't the chain's already made. We need to you know snap it here and there and make them, you know, you notice that too is like sometimes when you see these stories, if there is ever any type of real human intervention, you see the like think of 9/11 where it potentially it's just, we're not all the way there with technology, so mistakes can happen, so they had to stick to a better human script. Well, you see what happens when humans are reading the script. You got the BBC over there telling us that Tower 7's already fallen and the destruction and devastation. Oh no. It's it's right there. It's just chilling. It's good. We're fine over here, lady. Meanwhile, a couple of hours later, oh my gosh, it comes down. Oh wow, I mean, did anyone go and hire her as a seer, as a oracle for the administrations over there? It's like, wow, she knew the future. But yeah, I mean, as far as like that, I would say that those are, errors in people who are in on it. They made errors, but the more that AI is able to fill in the gaps and you have the more sophisticated technology, it's going to be up to us to show the world. It's going to have to be real world, real life. They live real life. V for Vendetta, and not the Jesuit plot portion of it, but the hijacking the cable networks. That's more of a symbolic thing saying that you need to be a human voice to the people's ears before they get indoctrinated fully. Like you need to, and the need is rough. That's what I was saying earlier about selflessness. Is I don't think we technically need to do anything, and the fact that we do should not be met with animosity because we are trying to protect. And me personally, I'm trying to protect whatever your aspect or thoughts of a soul is. If I don't want to live in a world, whatever happens, whether it's reset or anything, I don't want to come out of it. I don't want to survive it. I don't, if it means I'm going to be with soulless people. I
Yep.
it's, it's more important to me that anybody waking up, the true waking up to me doesn't mean that we are hand in hand going to war to overthrow against the AI bots of the overseers. And that does sound cool though, but that's just my movie in my head playing. But I would do that with you any day, Austin. But anyway.
Let's get it.
um but also it just means waking you up so that you can start making steps to save your own soul. Like don't rely on anyone saving it for you. You do have a soul. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
I'm not like I can't pull mine out and show it to you. But I think everybody does know it too. There's so much psychological damage that's been done to each generation with different ways in different ways. That is so hard for people to empathize and sympathize with one another because everybody's walk is different. we should appreciate that everybody's walk is different. Just because, if a guy who ate off of a silver spoon his whole life woke up and realized the same things I realized and had wisdom to impart, I shouldn't, you know, look down on his wisdom just because I didn't walk the same life as him. But you'll find that with these people, with certain people, there's so many people attached to their skin color, attached to their sex, attached to this ideology, politics, all these things that they hold on to, and they make that the determining factor on how they live. And anybody that can wake up and convince somebody else or help, at least show somebody that that's not what it is, the sooner we can get to that true paradise. The paradise, I can have paradise does not mean golden fields of beauty in my mind. Paradise can mean catastrophe everywhere, but we're free. We are
Yeah.
free. We know like we're doing what's right. It's like, so anyway, that's just my piece on that.
No, no, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. I mean, it's just like what I was saying before. I mean, um, it's like we're, and this is where humanity is. I mean, it's people just, and to me, I feel the same way too. I mean, there's such few things that I need. Like it's like I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. It's like I know what makes me tick as a person. So it's like I'm just such a simple, easy, kind of like more like laid back, free spirited person where I'm just doing my thing. But I think that so many other people, people are, you look at people and their souls are gone. I mean, there's our soulless people walking around. Um, and it's the point I bring up all the time where you see it with people. It's how people are on the inside. Are they explosive? Are they fiery? Is there anything going on in there? Can I shake you up a little bit? What's going on in there? With your package? Yeah, it's where it's at with people. I mean, it's like there's just, you can just see who's just like empty and lifeless, and you got people out there that they might be lost, but they look like they can, they at least they want to fight, or they're making progress, they're doing something. But that's just the thing. I mean, it's like what I was saying before. I can't be any. I can't. The thing about me is I can't be fake. I can't put on an act. I can't be somebody that I'm not. I have to be who I am and do what I do, and be unique, and have my own way of doing things, or it's just not going to work. I can't be someone or something that I'm not. I can't put on an act. I can't be fake. Um, and that's why I can't deal with most of society, most things these days. And it's like I said before. It's like it's like this is a bar fight. It's like I'm in a bar and we're in a bar fight, and then you got you know Klaus Schwab, where they're just talking all this shit to you, and it's just you're gonna know nothing to be happy. And then I'm just sitting here going, well, how isn't this guy getting punched in the face? How's he getting beat up? I mean, how is this even happening? I mean, these people, because they don't have any souls. I mean, they don't got nothing. I mean, um, I don't understand how people can go through life and just not even be mad about things. I mean, how do things not bother you? I mean, it's just like I just don't get it. I mean, I've always been this way, and it's like I said, I was this way my whole life. I was 4 years old in preschool. Throwing my stuff in the garbage and not wanting to be there because I'm like, well, why? I mean, why I have to do this? It's stupid. And people don't want to answer my questions, like, why I have to come here? Why I have to do this? Why I have to be this way? And it's like, oh, Austin's got an attitude problem. Oh, Austin doesn't participate. It's like, yeah, see, and now look at me today. It's like I'm doing great, and everyone else is like, you know, screwed. It's like this is it. I mean, that's what society's missing. There's no attitude, there's no soul, there's no fight, there's just no will in people. And um it's just it's you can't be, there's like certain people you can't be around for that reason. I mean, it's like you just see it. I mean, there's certain people, they just drain um all the life out of you. It's like being with or around a narcissist, or something. It's just they just want to suck all the life out of you. Being around most people these days, and it's just the way it is. I mean, I know I can't deal with it. I can't even bear to see it. It's hard enough, just going around every day. Like I said, and just how many people, they don't want to come outside. They don't want to look at you. They're just hiding in their house. It's like and this is why we're losing right now. This is the biggest thing right now. Why we're losing is that. I mean, they did so much damage with COVID in 2020, and last 4 or 5 years of people's lives. Just um, destroying the social network and the social circle and how people do their how people are supposed to live has been completely discarded. And with all these people just locked away in there. And you just see these people, and none of them are doing good. At least the majority. I mean, the people that I know that will at least come up to me and look at me or talk to me or say hi or something or acknowledge me. These are the people I have some respect for. Most people I don't even have any respect for them anymore, because it's just like you just see it. 5 years later, they're still wearing the face diaper. They're still cowering away inside. They've lost humanity has lost its way, and these people are not responding. I mean, someone's sitting there telling you nothing, and these people are just taking it and eating it up and not responding, but they're not even mad about it or want to fight. They just want to accept it. It's just embarrassing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of embarrassment for what it is. I mean, I think we're to the point where uh just the number one excuse of not knowing is just, it's just unacceptable at this point. There's so much obvious stuff that, it's even from the media that you got that people take in that points towards, you know, the agendas and where they're headed, and yet you still have so much of humanity willing to coast through it, thinking that they'll just, just sail right through it and, not be effective. And or like you mentioned a lot is, the amount of people that are just willing to accept the negative. They're just say, all right, that's what it is. And they'll almost apply like almost a religious aspect to it, like, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. That's like what's supposed to happen. And why are you breathing? Why do you exist in this world? You really think that this is literally just a petri dish where we all just spawned and it is what it is, and we're just here, and now we have everything we have, and what we're supposed to do with it is just waste away and let other people tell us everything, and let other people be the only driving force for us to do anything. Like, how do these people convince themselves of that? It's so defeatist. It's so like I said, like these are not the people I want to I want to be for. These are the people that are going to, for good people. This is right out of Art of War. This is giving, for a good person, they're not willing to just, even if they dislike, let's say, their neighbor, even if they dislike their neighbor, it's not like they want to see like a mafia member come up to them in the broad daylight and just shoot them in the head. So when it comes down to the, potential violence between, something's got to give type of deal, you're going to have people that have a soul and know what's right, and they're going to be dragged down because they don't want to see just everybody. It becomes a moral decision it's not necessary, but it will happen because not enough people, I don't think, will quote unquote wake up, that you'll have a large swath of people that are dragging their heels and holding on to your leg and making you less effective at the end of the day. It's almost like weighing, I have this thought because I'm a father too. It's like, as much as I would never want to lose sight of my kids when stuff popped off, I'd also wouldn't want to be near them because like I wouldn't want what I'm about to get into anywhere near where they are. You know what I mean? And it'd be for them. It'd be in the idea of protecting them, and my life is my life for them. There's so much moral ideas to think about when it comes to something like that, but that I guess I'm kind of coasting in that aspect because I'm not nearly ready. I'm not nearly proficient with weapons. I'm not nearly as I want to be, as I should say. And there's I'm working on it. I'm working towards that. And if I haven't mentioned it on stream, now I have we just moved to a some good acreage, and so a lot of those things that I've been, wanting to preach, not necessarily preaching, but espousing as far as my ideas that are starting to come fruition for me personally, to where I can, walk the walk and hopefully, learn more and be able to teach better, not only my own kids, but hopefully it comes across even if we're out pounding pavement or anything else. And but I think that's what it takes. I know it's crazy. I know it would be hard for anyone to picture like a large change in anybody's life, because everybody's just so used to the new normal they like to call it, that people like just being. And I noticed this with my family members, especially my mom. It's like, without being able to take 5 steps back and really seeing what you are, you're never gonna see it. You're just never gonna see what everybody else can see, and it really is. And I'm not like damning her or anything like that. She's not dead. She ain't dead yet. So she's I mean, she's got time to do it, and I have faith, I guess I could say, that she can pull herself up by her bootstraps, and realize some of her shortcomings and work towards not going that way in life, because she's very much so sort of the person we talk about, that shell inside, and taking in the media, living vicariously through the media. I will also say this: I don't want to sit here and talk down on her in any way, but someone who's been very critical since my awakening. It's you know I can now understand both sides, because I have kids and I am a child. I have a mom, so I also have my kids, and I can understand, and I'm an adult, is what I'm saying. Um, so I can understand both sides. Like, I can understand it hurts like double, because what my mom doesn't realize is that she doesn't realize my aspect of it. That I want my mom to not accept me. This isn't any. I'm not very like uh emotional. Like, I'm not very sentimental or emotional. I'll cut off I'll cut off a family member instantly if they're not a good person. That's never going to be a problem for me. I understand how humanity works. It has nothing to do with the blood in or the anyway. Another story for another time. But point being is, I want my mom to do better for herself. And like I was saying, how she was very critical of, the things I tried to come to her about and explain to her, and hope that she could, you know, it's not like I was going to it about her. I was just going to her about like somewhat worldly things, and like how I've woken up to the quote unquote truth of certain things. And, she's so stuck in her ways that, she was like, it was almost like talking to a whole nother person. Almost, I will say this, it was almost like a demon. She was like, I'm like, since when are you like this? Since when are like, she was just so unopen, so closed off to any of my ideas. And it's like, I'm your child. It's like, not to mention that I'm, one of the only one, I'm the only one that really visits you and talks to you, well, at the time. And so it's just very strange how that works. But then I also understand from like her perspective too. I would imagine, like, from my perspective as a parent, I would want my child to come to me and talk to me about that kind of stuff. Or if I was slipping, I would want to hear from my children. So it's just like, in both sides of things, I think it's a bad sign. But like I said, I'm not trying to damn her or anything like that. But I obviously wish the best for her. It's not like she's 3 states away. I can talk to her anytime I want. It's just, you know, it's rough, and I think that's happened to a lot of people who have, quote unquote, woken up.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. Because I don't really talk much about my personal life and my, stuff. I kind of keep that to myself. But I don't. I don't really talk to my family either. Don't talk to them. We never really got along. We were never anything alike. I mean, that's just always the way it was. Like major, you know, mental illnesses, kind of plague my family. Alcoholism and other shit, and just, just a lot of shitty people who do shitty things. It's just the way it is. And I've always been kind of a, basically a loner to myself type of person. I just kind of, and that's, the reason for it. I mean, that's just who I am. And I never really had anybody, I kind of had to learn things in, my life, everything I kind of had to learn and do it was on my own because like I said, I always knew I had to, move away and travel, like I said, back in, 2017, look at where I was, I was in a bad spot. I was like basically like broke, homeless, living on my floor. Didn't have any money to my name. To sell my furniture just to get by and you know, uh, put food in my mouth and pay the bills. I just didn't have shit. So I had to move away and travel. I was on my way to going to prison for like 5 years at least for weed and shit like that, and had a lot of issues and problems uh, and that's a huge part of life. That dictates a lot of what a person's where you're from. Um, like where I'm from, it's not like like you and Zach, living in like Portland and coming going from there, and the West Coast, and being from a place like this, it's nothing like where I'm from. And I've lived, like I said, I've lived in cities, lived in Seattle, I've lived in small towns, and a couple thousand to 10,000, to places in Wyoming where there's really nothing either. But yeah, I've been in all kind of things, and it's every place you go has its pros and cons. Everywhere you go is different, and I always knew I had to move away and travel. Um, but yeah, I mean, I never had the like really the right people in my life. That was the big thing. I didn't have the people I needed and wanted in life, and people that were good for me or people that were going to help me at any level. It was just I had to move away, I had to travel, had to do things I wanted to do, figure things out, and set my own tone, um, and do the best I could. I Some people are everyone's handed a different hand. Some people are born in the perfect place for them, the right place. Some people aren't. Some people have the right parents, the right people around them. Some people don't. Some people have to move away and travel and start over and go find themselves. Some people have to everyone's different. So everyone has a different background. Everyone and if you're good at certain things, or if there's things that you're natural at, or you like, or they just kind of come to you, and you're things that you excel at, that's it carries over to other areas. You you're in great shape, you can go do things, it's going to carry over. It's it's good at those kind of things, going to play in other things, going to work in other areas for you. So it's kind of how life is. Life is life is everyone's different. I mean, a lot of people I know, like you said, are loners or alone because of this too. But yeah, I've always kind of been that way. So it's not like for me, it's like I had to like it's kind of weird. It's like I was saying before, it's like when I was younger, I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Like, I mean, I had my fun and stuff, but it's like I kind of I just wanted to like kind of have more fun and live it up and kind of enjoy my life more, and do more things, and kind of be around more people and stuff. And then I look at how the last you know since that time everything's played out, especially since like 2017, last 8 years. And it's like now it's like now it's all I want to do is really just be alone and be with myself, because it's just like I've lost so much faith and in respect and stuff for humanity. And it's like for a lot of people that where it was already bad or it wasn't good. I mean, it's only gotten worse. I mean, it's just it's just it's a sad world. It's sad. We don't get to pick who our parents are and where we're born, where we come in, and what our life's going to be. And everyone has different battles and different things to fight, and that's just how it is. And um, for people like us to be who we are. I mean, it's everything and its power takes a toll. I mean, it takes a toll to be like us, because you're going to get targeted, attacked, and stuff, and you're going to have to deal with it. And I know that's why a lot of people, they don't want to like I said, come down this road, or be do the things that we're doing, because they know they're going to lose shit. And some people, um it's like I said before, some people, they can't be alone. Some people, it's like I said before, there are worse things than death, and than being alone. Everyone's so afraid to be alone and being afraid of death. It's like myself. Like I said before, I could be doing so much better. I could be doing in a better place, but it's like I could also be doing a lot worse in a worse place. So it's like, yeah, I haven't destroyed my life, haven't fucked things up. I've done pretty well with the hand I was dealt. So I could be doing a lot worse, but it's just the way how you got to look at it and where you got to go from there. And this is how everybody should. This is just kind of my philosophies tonight, but I just think this is what people need to hear, and what people need in their life. People need like coaching, someone there for them, someone that's gonna help them. And I feel like that's like something like I wish there's things now. I wish I knew when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's things that you always keep learning, and I feel like I'm right now, honestly, just like hitting my peak and full potential as a person. I mean, who knows where I'm going to be 5-10 years from now, but if I'm still even here. But I mean, I think that's just it. I just kind of see myself just slowly but surely chipping away at the bit, just climbing the mountain, and just conquering new territories, and um pushing myself, getting myself out there, doing different things. And yeah, there's a lot of areas and things I don't have and I lack in life, and a lot of skills or things I'm not good at. But like I said, there's something for everyone. You just kind of have to find it, and you have to figure it out. And that's just kind of where I'm at with life right now. It's like I said, I'm kind of the next 3 months, kind of making a plan, my birthday, and then after my birthday, where I'm gonna kind of things, and scope things out and figure things out in my own life, and what I want to do and where I want to go. And who knows how it's going to play out. But that's just kind of where I'm at with things. And I think everyone's kind of in that spot right now, because I mean, how many people are, whether you want to admit it or not, your hands are going to be forced this way, this year, or sooner or later at some point, for most people.
Yeah, 100%. There's, you know, the status quo is ever changing, and for people that can't, there's only so much you can do to prepare for certain things that are out of your hands completely. Uh, Say the financial system and all these things. I mean, there's certain things you can do, but at the end of the day, you know, it does it doesn't bode well to be mentally unprepared, physically unprepared, uh, unprepared, with you having your things in order. And there's just so many people that don't even see the writing on the wall
Yep.
to prepare anything, let alone think that they need to. It's And like I said, it's like you have good people, you have people that want to see more souls worthy of walking next to, but those souls right now are, I mean, you can't, like you said, they're soulless. You can't even see them. And that's not to say that I'm some bright shining soul. I have my own issues. I tend to close myself off too. When what's weird too, I'll just be open about it because I think that is important. This is actually one thing that I think is majorly important, especially I mean I do so with my I try to with my son. as much as I can, because I want him to understand individual moments and how they like work, and to not like sway away from the thoughts that are had, and the weird inclinations and certain things and certain moments that are just strange. But there's also the more normal ones. Like I think I've spoken a little bit about it, like when I was talking about changing my lifestyle back to how I had it, and that just every day you'll tell yourself like you'll like lie to yourself. Either you'll do it tomorrow, and this may seem like a formulaic statement, like, oh, this is just like David Goggins or whatever. This is like all of their TikToks compiled into one. Well, I don't mean it so much as in that. I mean like the actual mental gymnastics that that I'm sure everybody does. I know I do, but that's not to say that I do what everyone else does, or everyone else does what I do. But I try to talk to my son about this, is just the like in the actual moment, the thoughts that you have, and the like confronting your excuse that you give yourself. And I also give it to him from the lens that it's just like there's I don't think that it's always you in your head. I actually don't believe that. Um First of all, I've seen no science ever. I've actually looked this up. I don't see any science that says that you are the person that's in your head. Like it's proven. Like they have the synapse over here firing, and they know that you told it to fire. That's not how your brain works. Your brain works very independently. Um, when you really look at sleeping, you're
Right.
nowhere to be found, but you're not just gonna like drown. You don't just like die. I mean, yeah, there are cases, but for the most part, your brain does what it wants. It does what, and how many people have terrible dreams that they would never tell themselves to have, yet they have them. Um, but anyway, that's kind of going off of the point, but uh mainly I just want people to recognize those moments for what they are, and don't just think that it's supposed to happen, or look deeper, look into a deeper reasoning for why everything happens. um yeah, I wish I could give like a great example. I'm trying to think of an example as I'm talking, and it's kind of making me stutter here, but um maybe I can think of an example later. But basically, what I was saying earlier, earlier we when another episode is about, take your like fitness goals, for example, or the lack of fitness goals, and you're in the process of letting yourself go. You're doing it. You see yourself doing it, you feel yourself doing it, but you make these like tiny excuses that snowball. And like if you're quicker to understand that you're about to make an excuse, or you're in that mode with yourself, you can identify it and write the course sooner than later. um because And I'm tying this into the idea that people aren't prepared, because they think that there's, oh, it's not till agenda 2030. I got 5 years. It's like, so what if you got 5 years? You know how much we need to do? Do you have any
Right.
idea how much we got to do? And you're just talking about yourself over there. You could be you could, in order to even be in charge of like a hammer and nail guy kind of guy in this fight. You need years of understanding, because we're so far behind. It's like
Yep.
there's only so many people that could even like be a fighter in this fight. We need
Yep.
so many people that are even like lower positions. I have a hard time talking this all out. In my mind, I have like these ideas about it, but I understand not everyone's the same as me, so articulating it on the off the top is difficult sometimes. Might seem confusing, but point being is like 5 years isn't anything. And I'm not saying I'm so far ahead of you. That's not what it's about. We need to cut that crap out too. We got to cut that crap out too. These egos that I see in every facet of everything is just astounding. And
Yep.
especially when it has to do with like race and sex and all these different things, it's just like, how come we just can't talk? How come people can't just fucking talk? I don't understand why everyone thinks they know better and everything, and it it just it baffles me. And it does. That's not to say I've never been like that or can't be like that. It's just to have the mindset that that is what this world is about, and we're just supposed to be walking, talking bullshitters, and we don't have any real purpose, and we're not here to do anything. It's just, to me, that is just so boring. That is like, amongst everything else, like, I'm trying to give a word that's more palatable to the average person. It's boring. It's fucking boring. Let's go fucking die some crazy way against our captors. Let's go do that. That's just my brain. That's just where I'm at. And that's coming from somebody who has 2 kids and a lovely girlfriend that I would hate to leave behind. But it's so hard to come to terms with certain things, and that's what I'm trying to say is everybody has a different walk of life, and you got to come to terms with certain things in your own head. And then once you conquer that, you put that foot in front of one foot in front of another, and you start snowballing it the other way. You got to start snowballing it the other way, because it's more than, rather than snowballing it, it's kind of like who was it, Prometheus. Yeah, or was it Prometheus? No, no, no. Who was the one that was like uh doomed to have to roll a giant stone up a hill every day, and then he'd have to do it the next day. Anyway, it's like a Greek mythology type of thing. But like, rather than, if you want to get fat, that's snowballing. That's a snowballing starting at the top of the hill and rolling down and getting to be a huge snowball by the end of it. And that's what you look like by the end of it too, a huge snowball. Um, but like, to counter that, if you let yourself get halfway down the hill, you're now pushing that, like, you started with a snowball this size that if you just confronted it when it was that big, that's the only thing you had to deal with. You just had to, knock it back over the hill. I'm trying to give a good analogy here. But if you let it roll halfway down the hill, now it's this size. Now you got to roll. Now you got to, in the snow, fight and hike that thing all the way back up there, which in a way is an analogy for, for, by the end of it, you should have lost all that weight too. Some good exercise. But so yeah, I strive for myself, and especially for my son, for him to confront things sooner, for him to notice that he needs to confront something sooner. That's almost the bigger deal, is even knowing you should, because you'll look around at the world and you'll think, oh, I don't got to do anything. I don't have to do anything. I shouldn't be doing anything. Anything I do is just what I want to do. And that is so far from the truth, in my opinion. And it's like you said, that I think that contributes to that soullessness, is these people have no, not inside of their, behind their eyes, they're not even pro themselves. They're, they want, they want the worst from themselves also in their, like, fake. You could do anything you want in your mind, and in your mind you're like, I'm a piece of garbage. It's like, what? You could be a piece of garbage on the outside, but why are you a piece of garbage in your own mind too?
Yeah, that's exactly where it's at. I mean, look at you look at the average person. I mean, like I said, the average person is, it's like you said. I mean, why can't we just talk? I mean, I feel like if most people, and that's like I said, most people are just they just want to be bland. I mean, they want to be just generic. They don't want to have. Most people to me are just afraid of being judged. I mean, it's like, in 2020, it's like when I'm driving around 2020, 2022 with the COVID as a hoax sticker on my bumper in my car. I'm not worried about, being judged or pissing anybody off, or, what someone's going to think of me. No, I do that because it has to be done. I mean, someone's got to push back, because someone's got to show leadership. Someone's got to rise above. And that's how you do something like that. I mean, I did all kind of things. I, would chalk up parks in Wyoming, write things, drive around with the COVID's hoax sticker on, my car from Washington to Wyoming. And um, that's just, those are just small things. We've pounded pavement and came together and done other things as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, and that's just what's missing. I mean, people. This is what I keep coming back to is it's like you look at someone. It's like, would you rather be beautiful but be broke or not have much money, or be an ugly old nasty fuck but be a billionaire? It's like, well, I know what I'm always obviously picking. I mean, I'm not going to be some loser. I'm not going to look like a loser. I know that. I mean, that's just almost. And so many people just they just what people. It's like I said, my day is not going to be ruined because you scratched or dented my car. I mean, if you kick a hole in the side door, I'm just going to laugh about it. I don't care. Does it start? Does it stop? Does everything else work on it? Does everything, that I need to have functions? Okay, I'm happy with it. I'm good enough. That's good enough for me. We're at war. I know nothing to be happy. I mean, I see where it's at. I know what these people do and what's happened to me. It's like, again, priorities. What people prioritize, what they don't prioritize. Um, simple things. Um, learning things. Things are learning, just like I said, how your body works. I mean, I'm just this year I've just started, especially lately, just started figuring everything out, and how my body works and what I need to work on, and what to improve and how to make things better and what to do. And I'm, like I said, I'm just hitting my stride now because these aren't things that were taught to me in school. No one ever explains to me. No one taught me about this. You're not going to hear this and learn this from the doctor or anyone else. So these are things you have to do on your own, or research on your own, and figure out on your own. And that's just where it is with most people. That's just where you have to be. You have to um, kind of research yourself and figure yourself out, and what you have to do and what needs to be done. And if something seems minor, or it's minor to you, well, then it's just minor. I mean, um, are you crying because you're going to own nothing to be happy, and you're Klaus Schwab stealing your last dollars and your last bits of food, or are you crying because your car's dirty or you need a new one, or uh, your door's yellow and you want a red one. What's the problem here? That's people have to think. That's where we are. I mean, they have people on every level. I mean, where you're at in life, what bothers you. I mean, um, it's just, and this is how they snowball things too. I mean, this is how things snowball. It's like, it's like I said, oh, nothing to be happy, and that might seem like an overstatement, but think about how easily and quickly these people can wreck your lives. It's so easy to have it happen to you. I mean, let's say you say you're like me, and you just keep having people fucking steal your car or shoot it up or something. Then your insurance doesn't want to cover it no more. Then you can't afford it. You can't get insurance. And then say you're starting to do good and you're starting to pull ahead, and you're starting to make money, and then you get a nice job or something, and then and then one day you get pulled over or something happens, then your insurance didn't cover. You didn't have insurance because all the bullshit that happened to you, or they didn't want to help out, or they screwed you or scammed you or something, and then next thing you end up going to fucking jail. Then you lose your job and you lose everything you work for. Next thing you know, you're fucked. And then who knows? Some people. That's why some people kill themselves. Situations like that. I mean, uh, that's the problem. I mean, it's a petty system, and when you have a petty system, petty things and little things snowball, and they're just gonna keep adding and saying, "Oh, you need this," or "Oh, you got to do that," or "Oh, see now it's this way," or "Oh, see we changed this," and then it just snowballs. And then people don't stop it or want to stop it or want to look at it and want to face it, and it just gets worse and worse over time. And next thing you know, you got an avalanche of shit because, well, people didn't care enough. They didn't, go against it enough. They told you, oh, you need this insurance. Then, oh, you need this health insurance. Then, oh, your kid needs health insurance. Then, oh, your kid needs dental insurance. Oh, your kid's got to have this. Oh, you got to have that. I'm like, well, what just happened to just, our family insurance that covered everybody and it was cheap? What happened to that? Where'd that go? All of a sudden, oh, now this. That's how they do it to you. And that's why so many people are so screwed. I mean, uh, and it's just like I was saying, it's people thinking oh, I need a surgery. No, you just got to do some stretching. It's like do these stretches, and then all your problems go away. People just don't, like you said, they're asleep at the wheel to the real problem, and they're about to go off the cliff, and they're uh, passed out in the seat intoxicated and they're about to go over the massive, call it the Grand Canyon. They're about to go crashing down through the Grand Canyon, but they had a few too many beers in them, or they're drunk, or or they just had a heart attack behind the wheel, and they're just going over the edge, and that's just where it's at for most people.
Got their meta glasses on,
Of their meta, yeah,
trusting their Tesla.
yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm
It'll
on
stop when
maps.
I get to the edge, bro. I know it will. It's done it every time so far.
It's accelerating because it knows I like, I'm a risk taker.
Yeah,
It knows me better than anybody knows me. It would never hurt me. I got the satellite in clear view. There's no trees around, so that they can beam the information from space right into it
I got the
and into my
Daredevil. I got
glasses.
the Daredevil version Tesla. This one protects me. I get extra protection coverage, bro.
But yeah, I mean, I'll try to I guess not preface. What's the others term? I'll try to wrap it up with or at least our diatribe, if you will, with both of us, we're speaking truthfully. We're speaking what we mean to say, and that's how everybody should talk. Um, not to say to just go and be rude to people. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think that we're being rude, but if you consider what we're saying rude, I think then you might you might want to realize, y- a certain level of softness might be okay, but there's too much of anything. And if you think what we've said is in any way like rude or insensitive in some way, it kind of plays into what you've been talking about too. It's just priorities. And when you're prioritizing other people's speech more than your own life, that's a red flag. When you're prioritizing, your skin color, your sex, your political ideology, or religious theology over, you know, your own well-being, red flag. Uh, and that red flag should be waving and saying, "Hey, wake up. That's what it's meant to do. That's why it does it so well." So why would it be that way? Why is it that politics and religion and sports and um, race and all these divisive things, why is it that they work so well in captivating you? It's not just you. Look around. People think it's something to cling to and to hold on to because there's so many people involved in it that they think it almost like blends into itself. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You have so many people that don't know what it is, so they jump into it and then they see how big the pool is. Look how many people are in the pool, and then they think it's real because there's so many people in the pool, but they're just a bunch of people who jumped in not knowing what it was. But anyway, yeah, we don't mean any like real offense, or I certainly don't. Um It's just, we're speaking on what we see, what the world around us is presenting us. And, we're hoping that, you know, people can wake up and start to talk again, start to live their lives again, and to be somebody worth being. And, this world is caught up in so many different things that are so not worth our time when the concept of time is so precious to a human and we don't realize it when we're in the middle of it. Trust me. And that's the other thing I want to say too is like half the stuff I talk about I've done. It's not like I'm some I consider myself perfect in any way or any way, shape, or form. I've done it, and there you shouldn't necessarily regret things. You should take it as a learning experience and apply it in the best way you can. And for me, that's, through my family, especially my little ones, is, I basically become the an avatar of somebody I wished would have came to me at that time. But, um, yeah, we just want to see a brighter humanity, and hopefully when the sun gets brighter and warmer out, we'll be more active, on the streets with actual people. But yeah, because I think that's something that I just have this weird idea that we'd find a way to make that unique we'd find our own niche in that kind of aspect, and I haven't worked it out. We haven't worked it out, but I'm hopeful and positive and thinking that we'll find a way to reach people, even if it's controversial. The controversy is not negative. Controversy is necessary. The fact that there's no controversy surrounding all the three-letter organizations, that's a problem. That's a huge, huge problem that we're so passive with our rulers to allow them to continue to rule us and still feed us the media that shows us what we should be doing to them. But yeah, we just don't. It's so fucked up how they got it. But yeah,
Yeah, another story too. The TikTok ban.
mhm,
This is a perfect example of what we're talking about. With this, more loss of your rights and whatever. I don't use TikTok, but it's just it's another takedown by the numbers. And of course, TikTok goes the clock, like the doomsday clock. TikTok, the mockery. Um, Got to rub it in. But Sec sues Elon Musk on the 201st day of his age over failing to disclose social media platform. Um, and of course, January 14th, had 24 date numerology, and X is the 24th letter. 24 people petitioned to have the X removed from Twitter. And it was um, Twitter was rebranded as X on July 24th, or 24/7. So you got the mockery there, while the uh, Illuminati was 247. It was also underpaid by 150 million. Illuminati 150. Um, so of course you have all that. Um, he paid 44 billion. 44 billion to kill it. 44 billion for the social media platform. Um, And just, look at Sec. Sec equals got the 27, the 9, the 54, the 18. Once again, everything adds to 9 there with Sec. Um,
mm,
Suing the big muskie. But yeah, it offers to buy Twitter at 54 dollars per share. And then you got Sec right there with the 54, like Jesuit Order 54. Illuminati, or Order of Illuminati 201, Jesuit Order 201. You got the it's interesting too. Elon Musk will turn 54 this year, so that's pretty interesting. So you got the $54 per share, and then he's going to turn 54 this year. And April 14th, that was the date. April 14th, 2022. April 14th, or 14/4, like Jesuit Order 54 and 144. And then the Twitter first went on the market November 7th, 2013, the day leaving 54 days left to go in the year. TikTok ban was expected to happen today. And from the law that was passed led up to this, March 13th, 2024 to January, 19th is a span of 313 days. Similar date, 313. 313 is the 65th prime. And today's date has 65 numerology. And of
Mhm.
course, look at pandemic, 65. It's like I keep saying, 65, Kurt Donald Cobain, big Kurt Donald Cobain with that 65. It doesn't go away. It's everywhere. Pandemic's got the 151. Society of Jesus, 56. Um, and then you have also, like I said, to date, it can be written, it's got the 9/11, the 191, whatever. Um, and the coronavirus pandemic was declared on the 79th day of Anthony Fauci being 79 years old. And the ban comes, March, 13th, 2024, a date with, 40 numerology, TikTok equals 40. It also equals 86, like to get rid of. So you have the 86, and they get rid of TikTok, go figure.
Like time's up.
Yep. United States equals 40. US equals 40. It is also equals 4, like kill. So you have pretty interesting there. Then you have from Wednesday, March 13th, 2024 to Monday, September 9th, 2024. It's 180 days when the ban would go into effect. The anniversary of the United States being named in 1776. And then, 13th of the month going into the, 13 stripes, 13. You write it out equals 99. It's got the 45 and there the 117. United States of America equals 144. It's got the 99. So yeah, it's just, sign more like we were talking about all night, more signs of, the pandemic and lockdowns and spars and all these things coming to a head. And they always, like I said, that, like the doomsday clock, the doomsday clock, they always say it's wherever, how close it is to midnight till whatever's going to happen. But, this is just more mockery. TikTok goes to clock, TikTok and everything that's going on right now. Elon Musk, dark mega. So this is just another story. And again, a lot of people, use or had, TikTok and everything. And they're just like that. They just take it away. Like they do with so many things, it's so many things just they're only around for so long and people, and they just take them away on you and pull the rug out from underneath you. And, it's just more a way to silence people, take away your freedom of speech. And it's just like, like I said, 2017 with Trump, it's the mass, and it was with, on Elon Musk's birthday when that happened. The mass takedown on the internet, the censorship, Zach's channel and so many others getting taken down on his birthday there, not by accident. And, dark mega hooking up with the highest degree of the satanic church. And that's why you get the story coming out, like I said, on the 201st day of Elon Musk age. I mean, it's news by the numbers, SEC's gonna sue the SEC. So yeah, this is it's another, again, just another bitch slap to the face. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, it's been a huge week for stories for, pending what 2025 is going to be. But I mean, it should be obvious, especially, with everything we've talked about and gone over tonight, that all of this is just one story. It's just one thing. It's just one mocking. And it's just, one, bigger ever growing picture of what's to come. I mean, this is, none of the things we've talked about tonight or lately have been small little things. I mean, these things are escalating and it's only going to continue. It's like I said, where are we going to be another 3 months from now? We're going to lose so many more things are going to happen in the next few months. And this is what I keep talking about, this snowball effect where people don't realize how many things you're actually losing and getting taken away, just in increments and in little bits here and there. And next thing you know, you're left with nothing, just scavenging the remainder of the pieces. This is where we're at. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's as of now, it's like I said, it's terminated as of today, so it's um already gone. But yeah, it's just like
Well, I
that. They
think
just
they
say
brought it
something.
back.
Oh, did they bring it back?
Yeah, because Trump tweeted saying he would issue an executive order, and so they just brought it back. And then I even saw people's home screens when they first logged back in. It said like, "Thank you, Trump, from the TikTok team." It's
Huh.
just like similar to his what was that like what are those things called? The alert that went out.
Oh yeah,
So, you know, I think this is all, I wanted to say one more thing too. I don't know if you mentioned this or this was included with your thought process, but SEC is like the shorthand for seconds, which is what the big hand ticks down
yeah,
for, TikTok is the seconds. That's what you hear when a clock is ticking is the seconds going by. So that's interesting that he's getting he I didn't even think about that. Elon Musk got sued by
yeah,
the SEC, the seconds. Hmm.
yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah, that's a great point you just brought up.
But yeah, they brought it back within a few hours ago. But yeah, as of today, earlier today, it was shut down. Supposedly, I don't use it.
I
Um,
don't use it
but
either.
since we're on the topic, we can give our. I personally, I don't like that we need something like TikTok. For point of reference, my sister watches these, so maybe she'll hear me talking about her. Um, you're famous, sis. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
um, No, but, she's heavy into TikTok, and on one hand, you have people use it for what maybe could be perceived as good, she says that she hears a lot of similar messaging to what we talk about on there, and it's not obviously, you can use TikTok, it is what it is, it doesn't need to be "evil," quote, unquote, but just anecdotally from my point of view, ever since the inception of this godforsaken app, to me, it's child porn. Just bar none. I I have my friend at the time, the one that we had a falling out, shortly after, through the COVID thing. He was one of my better friends, but this has something to do with it. Is the rise of this? It just completely like degraded his mind at the time. I don't know how he's doing nowadays, but I just remember him always wanting it's it's evil in my opinion because I feel like it was like it's like a possession thing. It's like how it's like looting. It's like looting if you're the only one looting, you're just stealing. You're not really like looting in that kind of way. Like looting is almost more of a group project. Um, but it's like still this like wrong thing that you're doing. Well, he just had this thing of I think we've all known this type of person too that just wants to show you, wants you to be culpable in it in some way. He would always like I've never I would only ever just be like, "Yo, I don't want to see it." But it's like that him knowing I didn't want to see that kind of stuff made him want to show it to me. Even it's just so petty as to even just like to show me without me like knowing what I'm about to see. But it would always be, who knows how old these girls are on there wearing next to nothing. And it's just
right.
like, okay, how many I wanna know how many contracts have gone out to a TikTok dancer girl to become a in any way into the industry. I would say, first of all, that just that concept in my head I was building is just like, okay, that thing if that exists, we need to look into that. If there's an actual agency that's like going through TikToks to find the like quote, the sexiest 15-year-old dancer for your like, and I'm
Yeah,
sure these things do exist. I'm sure. Uh, world
it's an
is just
extension of OnlyFans.
yeah. I mean, it's a pipeline, that's for sure. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, 100%. Um, but yeah, funnily enough, Amy cracked their code. Uh, Great website, check it out. I don't have the link ready, but I'll try to get that one ready. Um, she was when it had gone first gone off, she was showing people how to log on through the browser. It just got her video got recommended to me, so so I started watching it. Needless to say, she logs in, and I don't think it was her algorithm. I think it was kind of like a fresh algorithm on her desktop. But like the first thing they showed, it's like I don't like that. I almost feel like that video should get flagged. It was just like this girl. I don't know how old she was, but she was just doing this dance. It's gross. It's sickening. It honestly, there's so many facets to it. We're just talking about the platform that allows it to go into a space where other people can see it. I'm not talking, we need to address the people that raise these kids too, like obviously, but we also need to talk about abolishing these systems that let it fester within it, like schools and all these other things. Like school is not about learning. I mean, we all already know this. We all went to school, and yeah, there's different versions of school. So maybe someone from 1940 is going to have a thing or two to tell me about what school is because back then they had to walk 5 miles through the snow. Anyway, heard that all before. But point is like the amount of comprehension of things you take and actually apply from schooling your 13 years, especially high school is what I'm mainly talking about the last 4 years, is next to nothing. Good luck remembering all the calculus that to do good in calculus, you have to remember it. That's like the
Yeah.
main key component about math anyway, is just remembering it. But once you forget it, you're fucked. Like you can't just pick it back up and be like, "Oh, I remember how to do it." No, you got to practice it. So it's like who's practicing calculus, who's practicing trigonometry, who's practicing geometry. Basic things are forgotten so quickly. I say all that to say what people take from high school is what they end up becoming, it's what fuels like sororities and fraternities. They're not practicing math in there. They're practicing how to be degenerate in one form or another. And that's what these so yes, I understand this is just a platform like any other really, and it's not like you can't find this on YouTube too. You can. It's just that in my opinion, it's like pushed. I would say my opinion kind of loosely. I almost just want to say it factually because of everything I've seen, and I've never owned a TikTok, not even once. So for someone who's never even owned a TikTok to know that so much of it is that, because if it's other stuff, then show me the other stuff. How come? Where's the other
Right.
stuff? Where's all the good stuff that I hear about? Where's all the freedom fighters and the underground? We're getting ready. Within 5 months, we should have a standing army. Within 5 months, we're the TikTokers. We're gonna bring this country back. It's like okay, but what's with all these little girls dancing? How come I had to watch like 5 things that make me want to clean my soul with a scouring pad before I could find that? So to me, it's just like the platform is what it is. It's like if those things are happening, they'll happen regardless of TikTok existing. And that's what makes me so angry that these things are necessary to some people. But that's about my take on it. And that's just
Yeah,
one
it's like I said, it's an extension of OnlyFans. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's um, and that's what's promoted on. I mean, uh, there's small subsections of people out there that use it, for good or for better, for
Mhm.
for good
Of
information or other
course.
things. And I mean, once in a while, I'll look at some and they'll pop up and I'll watch them or whatever interests me. If I see some that's you know trending in the algorithm or whatever. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's just another thing to really just suck people down the wrong hole of things on a lot of levels. Get not only just wasting your time, watching this, like you said, like this kind of low key kind of porno stuff, but or getting wasting your time with this, whatever it's, like I said, if it's these the kind of low key pornos, whatever the shit is on there, but um yeah, and then you get the people that not only that waste their time with it, and eat it up, like OnlyFans, but then it just uh, like you said, how it just plagues the youth, um, how it draws them in, and they're doing this stuff, and it just shows you where we're at with society. It's a fallen society. We're here for a lot of reasons, and it's the reason why things have gotten so bad for 2020. It's like everything now is on steroids because of all the dysfunction in the world, all the problems, and yeah, this is a place where yeah, it's on full display. You can see it on full display on a TikTok. That's for sure. I mean, it's right in your face.
Yeah, and I probably have more abrasive ideas about the lockdowns and actually how it all worked logistically, about how we are where we are, individually, between the two uh between the two sexes, how men are how they are now and how women are how they are now, because a big shift did occur. And I have my opinions on how the women got there and the girls are where they are now. Um, but I'll leave that for the front of one of our videos, because I feel like that could drum up some controversy potentially. But uh, yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about the crabs in a bucket, uh, whatever that is, metaphor, whatever that is, where you know for the most part at this point, our rulers, the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, these commissions and such, so on and so forth, even our local ones are, mayors and lords of the land, which is what they are. Um, they can just leave us to our own devices, in this case, an actual device, and we will we will surprise them with how good of slaves we are. You know what I mean? It's like half the stuff we do play right into their agenda, and they never even asked us to do it. They never even tried to poke us to do that. It's like they go to brand us, and we're just like, "Ooh, thank you." It's like, fuck, man. It's rough when it, and, so yeah, I just personally, and you could easily throw this back at me and say, you know, a platform's a platform, and I totally get that. But I don't think anyone's gonna be able to argue with me about what is pushed on certain platforms.
Right.
And but YouTube's getting just as bad.
Oh yeah.
Case in point, having I made a new email for, unscriptedtruthtv at gmail.com. Hit us up. But I made that email, and so with it comes, the new Gmail, new Google account, whatever. And so I get a fresh algorithm on YouTube. Like I said, the only two websites I've seen, well, there's a few now, like King Richard and a couple others, but initially there was only a couple. You'd be surprised with the stuff that hits the front page of a brand new YouTube algorithm. It's like I could be 14, and dude, there's some wild stuff on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like, damn. I, and then it's just like pushing it like day one. It's like, oh, okay. That's what you want to put your foot forward as, YouTube. I mean, I remember when YouTube was similar to the background here. It was a little symbol that looked like this old tube TV, and hence the tube. Does any, that's the other funny thing about names not changing, but like society changing and technology changing. The tube, I mean, look at all the modern people on there that have no idea what the hell a tube, what that means. They just think, oh, YouTube. It's just, they couldn't explain it if you asked them, like, what does the tube mean? What does it mean? They wouldn't have any idea. They'd just be like, like it's right to you, man. Like I'm going through a tube or something. It's like, no, it's a tube TV. But anyway, it's like, would you believe that that was the prominent type of TV when that came out, or at least it was not that far away from that time? I mean, I think the best TV when YouTube came out was like a what do they call the? I mean, a plasma TV was like that was the hype of plasma, and then of course, only a few years later, they're like, oh, whoops. Plasmas are the worst type of TV ever. Whoops. We
Yeah.
just, we made millions of them and sold them to you guys. But anyway, getting off course here. But yeah, I remember when YouTube it was just like there were still thumbnails from what yeah, there were still thumbnails, but I don't think you could create thumbnails. I think it just took like a picture from your video as the thumbnail, and it was just like a list you scrolled through. And for the most part, what I remember, because I wasn't on it very much, I was active. I was actually outside. My sister was, though. In fact, my sister was one of the first to get hit with the Sony apocalypse, like the very beginning of the Universal Music Group cracking down on YouTube, or being allowed to crack down on YouTube, and it becoming not open source, if you will. She was actually one of the earlier people hit by that. She had a pretty popular channel that did she did what's the term? She would make music videos basically out of her favorite shows, and she was good at it. She's a good editor too, and she's offered her help with us too. So like that's a source, that's a resource for us in the future too. I also hopefully you can meet her. She is one of the best people I've ever that I know. She's a really good person. Um. Anyway, but yeah, I got to see that, and at the time I didn't think much of it because I was just, in high school doing my thing. But looking back now, it's like it's funny to see where we're at now, where you can't even hum you can't even hum enough of a song that's copyright written. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is the point of that? What happened to any publicity is good publicity? How could it be? Who's going to YouTube, going to a channel on YouTube to hear the song they like played? You fucking idiots. It's like, okay, maybe the ones that just bootleg the music. Okay, fine. But every channel that has a snippet of that song is the same as a channel that just plays the song. It's like if I were to play a song right now, it's not like people would use our channel as a resource to go listen to their song. It's like, what kind of world are we think? You know how many streaming apps there are? You know how many pirate websites there are? This is not the issue. Why is it like that? And I once again, I ask a lot of questions. There are a lot of rhetorical questions. I understand that it's a money thing. It they want so many outlets. We have so many outlets for our money and like so few inlets. There's so many possible ways there's to make money and to reliably get money, but to lose it, you could cough the wrong way and like lose $1,000
Yeah.
if you're not paying attention. It's so yeah, I mean I totally understand that it's just a hindrance for any kind of monetization on this stupid site. But at the same time, it's just such a ridiculous thought to me. How could this be legal? How can court cases have gone? And I feel like I could just go and just rip apart a lawyer that argued for this. And just I don't know who would take their arguments more than they would take mine. It's like I said, nobody goes to a channel to like hear us. That's the roundabout. You're better off listening to the radio and just waiting for your
Right.
song to come around rather
Right.
than think people are saving a part of somebody's video that they had to go and find. Am I lost? Is there like a Reddit index of like channels that played a whole song and you can go to their channel to listen to the whole song? Bro, it's so sick. You can listen to one song on, you just got to go to minute 52 of this guy's stream and he plays the whole song. Nobody does that. Nobody did that back in the day when it was like hard to get music. Nobody's doing that now. So why is it not allowed? It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's like something getting taken down for medical misinformation. I don't even talk about anything
Mm.
medical. I was talking about cars. I was talking about guns. I was talking about obesity. Oh, that's medical misinformation.
Yeah.
Like, are you a robot? It's like, I think so. It's like, yeah, this is it's just amazing what people have allowed. I mean, it's and like I said, it all goes back to 8 years ago, 2017, when they, on YouTube, when they, first came in, and they were, I mean, they were taking down videos, and before that,
Adpocalypse, is that what they called it?
yeah, and like I said, they were taking down videos, before that, but in 2017, when on Elon Musk's birthday, there they had to just come in and just censor things, and the fact people just it's like I would say, it's just amazing what we allow these people to get away with, how these people get away with this stuff. And then it's like, now it's, I mean, everything is just so buried. I mean, it's just so, um, just it's so hard to find, certain things, and everything is just so, there's so many things, there's so much good information that used to be on YouTube. Um, back in, like, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, that it's been gone for, like, almost a decade now or more. I mean, YouTube's been around for 19 years. It'll be 20 years in November, so
Mm.
it could be an interesting year for YouTube as well. um or YouTube, whatever you want to call it, but just keep jewing us down the tube, but as they keep bending the rules and coming up with ways to say, oh, well, you can't say that, or you can't do this, or, oh, we got a problem with that, we got a problem with this. And so I'd watch out for something with YouTube this year, with the 20th anniversary looming. Um, and who knows? I mean, where this TikTok thing is interesting. How of course, they're gonna make Trumpy look like the good guy. See, he brought it back. He's a good guy. He's for us. No dark mag over here. But then you got Elon Musk, and then he'll, whatever he's gonna have him do next. And I'm really interested to see where things play out in the next few months, because I feel like, I mean, there could be another wave of censorship coming. Like Trump says, wants to censor his critics. So we could see something like we saw in 2017, but maybe more on, like, steroids. Um, I mean, the thing is, it's just so hard for people to even find our stuff now, because it's just so buried. I mean, it's, back when you could get millions of views and people could see what you were doing, and now you can't. It's really the same people. We're not really reaching new people. So, and like I said, I agree with, you and what you said before. We are reaching that point where, pretty soon you're not. We are at the end of the days of trying to reach people in general. Um, are new people, or people that are susceptible to want to hear anything. I mean, it's we are coming to that stage, and it's, I think we're there right now. I mean, uh, we have a pivotal year ahead of us here, where uh, this year alone, I think, is going to dictate probably the next, and like I said, the next 4 years. What all of this is going to dictate really the future of humanity. I mean, to me, it's hanging in the balance here. The next 4 years, I think humanity has this time to kind of, get its shit together and figure it out, and try and find a way to fight back, or want to fight back, or find itself. Or, most people are going to find themselves uh, on the outside looking in. Um, and who knows? I mean, like I said, there could be, whether it's this year, maybe there's an event this year, maybe it's 2027. We might not have the full 5 years to get to 2030. I mean, there could be something that happens along the way. So, time could be shorter than we expect. TikTok goes the clock. I don't even know what the doomsday clock, where it's at. I don't know if it's like how close to midnight it is, but The doomsday.
Ooh, a day after my birthday? Let's go. Oh, this is the announcement.
$90.
Einstein, Oppenheimer. Just straight up scientist guys. We're just scientist guys, okay? We just know good science. I did want to make a comment on this is what's interesting about all of this too is he's not the president yet. So how come he's doing the presidential stuff? Where's Biden?
Right.
Where's Oh, they just we forget our own president. We're
It just
so
proves
like
my point.
lost.
It proves my point that Trump's been the president, like I keep saying the whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
I've said it the whole time. Trump's been the president. I mean, why do you think he's riding around in the presidential limousine, getting the presidential treatment, and we don't even hear or know anything about Biden? And what do you think that is? It's because you're living in a show, clown world.
Hmm. A 19-year-old
Ooh,
arrested for setting a fire to the house of the Representative Glenn Grothman. GG. Wisconsin told authorities early Sunday he was motivated by the TikTok ban. Hey, authority over here. I want to tell you what I was motivated by. What are you taught? These are just such stupid stories. So here's the deal. Do you think that TikTok will survive this as TikTok, or do you think it will be banned and not allowed because it wasn't sold to an American company?
I mean, I think it could go. I mean, they can do what they want at this point. I mean, it's interesting that they brought it back. That's of course playing the Trump narrative. Um, I mean, they could make some changes to it. I mean, I think that it might be to the point where this is where like what we were talking about, how things that are promoted are like um it's kind of like on steroids now, where it's like going to be even the things that they want to promote or the ways they want to what they want to be. I mean, it could be like people, the few people on it that are talking about truth and talking about or videos that like you would want to watch or want to click on. This could be the point where they start to scrub those and take them down, take them out, and get more agenda oriented things pushed, um, and get those things kind of put them on the burners and just let it cook. Um, that's kind of what I see if it stays around. I mean, I think it's going to be like anything else. I just think you're just going to keep seeing them, take away with the censoring and promote what they want to promote because it's what they're pushing. I mean, things are obviously going to go one way. I mean, and I really feel strongly about like what we've talked about this like this plastic world that's coming. These sex bots aren't no joke. I mean, I was hearing about in 2024 how this year they're really going to start coming out. It's really going to be pushed. It's going to be out in the public, and now here you are, and now you're seeing the stories. People spending $177,000, and you're gonna see more of this being pushed. I mean, it's just like with YouTube. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, they're just going to keep censoring, and with Trump, I mean, he was the one to really usher it in the first time, and look how
Mhm.
bad it's gone in the last 8 years. I mean, there's no way he comes back now. It's ever going to get any better. It's only going to get, 100 times worse. So I think if it stays around, it's just going to be around to fit the agenda even more and just be pushed, and they're just going to use it to push more of their garbage. Um, I mean, and who knows? Maybe they do just take it down or take it out or come up with a story or narrative for that or why it needs to go or something. But
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
don't think they will. I think, these stories are written in advance and you have the opportunity for another conglomerate type corporation to absorb this entity. And who knows, because right now there's like a two party, well, I guess three, yeah, there's like three parties in control of all basic like streaming and video software, not software, but uh making websites type of thing. You got Google, you got YouTube, Google being YouTube. You have Tesla, Twitter, whatever, X being Twitter, whatever, and then you got Facebook being Instagram. I would say there's are we setting up for the biggest conflict of interest ever by having Tesla or, Elon absorb TikTok? You look, why I say that is I understand there's all this like court weirdness and all this other stuff, but like so many times, like that's how they do it. That's like that's where the curveball lies. Is that it's you wouldn't assume that that would happen, but then you'll have this administration come in and because like that's what I'm wondering too is like is Tesla just going to become stagnant? You'd almost in a actual in a world where this stuff was real, there would be some accountability. First of all, I would assume that there would already be like fail safes for having CEOs of companies becoming high up in positions of power that deals with companies and their spending and their uh efficiency, if you will. It's like, is he ever going to say, "Oh, the swamps that Elon Musk comes out"? I find it abhorrent. Tesla's destroying all these native land swamps. No, he's not going to say that. He's going to say, "We're look at what we're doing in this. We're taking these bogs and we're turning them into plants that give Indians millions of jobs or thousands of jobs." Anyway, he wouldn't say that either, but he would say, Americans, because by the time they get their visa, they are considered Americans. It's like where it's just such a rose-colored glasses that we wear here in America. I mean, we're white. I think it'd be hard for us to go to Russia and not act like Russians and just say, "Oh, we got citizenships, we're Russian," and everybody would just be like, "Oh, okay, they're Russian," and just move along. But but we do that with everybody that, look, we're citizenships, and this is something I do not care about. I do not care about this citizenship thing. I don't really have a stake in the game. I do understand there's negative aspects to it. It's nothing that I'll be ever able to control. What I want to control is myself into eventually seeing these systems crumble down and whatever way we can start chipping away at them. I mean, it's kind of in the same manner of like flat earth and stuff. It's like, okay, I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm not here to give my opinion on it at all. And I don't know what episode we'll take before I give my opinion on that. But more importantly, we'll figure all that out. If we erase all of the systems that are keeping these things secret and hidden from us, we work together no matter what we think is going on out there or whatever it is. We take down the systems that are right in front of us and we'll be closer to those answers. The more we just fight against each other and keep thinking that we have, all the answers, that's just such a turnoff to the other half of the people. That's what that's what everything is. That's what the race game is. That's what all these things. It's just a turn off for half and a rallying cry for the other half. You're never going to mesh oil and you're never going to combine oil and water like that.
Yeah, that's the exact problem we have today. Is everybody is just it's just the lack of open mindedness and just the will to you know get over people's differences and it's like you said. I mean, whatever what it's like the earth, you know all these things we want to know, and all these things we're trying to figure out. There just has to be a push in that direction, for it's like all these channels, all these people on YouTube that they can't get along, or they can't get over each other's differences because one guy thinks the earth is flat and the other thinks it's round, and that's the only difference. And they just throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they just throw everything else away, and you can't get anything out of it because, or, oh, this person thinks that, you know, in, you know, 100 years that we're all going to be dead or gone or something. The other person thinks that in 100 years we're going to make a comeback, and they can't get over the differences. And, it's just whatever people just have to look at, what we agree about and then go from there. I mean, when you're trying to find facts and truth in certain things, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just like someone who's going to tell me. It's like you said before tonight. I mean, nobody knows everything, nobody knows it all. And I don't claim to definitely know it all, or no. It's like I know a decent amount. I know a lot, but there's a lot of things I don't know and don't have a clue about at all. So it's like I just look at myself like, okay, so what do I really know? There's things I know, but then what do I really know? I mean, you have to stay wanting to learn, and you have to stay wanting to listen, I think. And that's one thing about me is I'm a good listener. I like to listen to what other people have to say, and learn and compare ideas and see where we agree, where we disagree, where we're different, where we match up. And I think that's a lost art. People comparing, contrasting for one another, because that's how people, that's how you build, that's how you grow. It's like you get two people together. It's like, okay, most likely those two people have different skills, different things they know. What that person could teach that person so much, and that person could teach the other person so much. So you have, um, that's how society in the world's supposed to work. That's how things are supposed to go. That's how things flourish. You have two differences come together, and then out of that, you build out of that. You create out of that. So that's just what needs to happen. And I think this is the year for it too. I think that 2025 has to be the year where people just, like you talked about tonight. The egos, people with egos. People, what people care about. This is the year where people are going to show you who they really are. Um,
Mhm.
and a lot of people that, whether in for people that want to just sit on the sidelines, they don't want to get involved, they don't want to do anything, or people that just want to, I don't know, just cause chaos, or people that just don't want to really I don't know, try and work together, try and come together in some. This is where that has to change. This has to be that year, um, without a doubt. I mean, humanity is hanging by a thread, and if there is any hope of a comeback, it comes with, like I always say, community. It comes with enough people coming together who have enough things, um, at least in common, but at least a lot of people that have different things, different talents and skills, to come together to build and create things, and to make things, and to have um, a future to look forward to. That's what the world and the country's lacking. That's the problem. And like I said all the time, and it's not like the point of like what we do. No one that watch someone, listen to someone is like I always say, is going to agree about everything or like everything about that person. But it's like it's like you could listen to this podcast tonight, and like what we say and agree about it, but then it's like, oh, you hate foreign cars, and then you find out that, oh, Logan drives a Honda and Austin drives a Toyota, so well, fuck them. I mean, I don't want to be friends with them. It's like,
Mhm.
so that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's like that's that's the biggest thing that has to change. It's like people can't just look at little petty things anymore. People have to stop being so petty, um, and just get by those things. And then once we get by that, I think we could start getting somewhere. I think a lot of people have a lot. I mean, like you said, how many people are in this community? But how many people have a podcast? How many people have YouTube channels? How many people go on Pound Payment? How many people meet up and do things? I mean, we can, cross the T's and dot the I's. We do all that. We've done all that. So that's what needs to happen. I mean, people just have to be uh, just follow kind of like what we're doing. I mean, and then if we can get enough people, like I said, this year, um, who knows where the channel's going to be by a year from now, 2026, and 2 years from now, 2027. If we still have it, if we're still here, that's what it's all about. It's about building, and like I said, if other people, uh, like I said, I'm trying to get the information too out at the gym, and get other people to want to get behind it and promote it and push it. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is other people. If they, it can't just be Austin and Logan and the people in the community. It's got to be other people too that pick up on what we're doing and then spread the message as well. Because that's how you make a difference. Uh, that's how you spread the word.
Exactly. And to pair, bring this full circle, and we just have to become, like you were saying, talking about the skills that we're so lacking nowadays. And that's something that I've always wanted to have a better, a real life skill set. It's because yes, you can consider editing video a skill, but at the end of the day, that's not going to make you warm when the lights are out. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's a balance, and I'm definitely headed towards that part of my life where um, I'm looking to become skilled. And I mean, there's so many things that I consider myself a relatively fast learner and a capable person, just based on so many things that I've tried, in so many different areas too. And I'm not trying to sit here and brag. It's just that, so many times it takes a certain amount of level of appreciation and application, and um like a want. It's almost like in the same realm of as like morals, or I guess like a responsibility to do things right. That when you try out something new, your success rate shoots up depending on how willing you are to do the job right. It's like you can have a veteran who knows everything about it, but you can get to that same you can get to the same level as that veteran depending on how much work you put in a lot quicker than they got there. It but I'm already, in the process of learning so many new things that I'm just jumping into. It's like um there's a lot of things we want to do with our property and everything like that, and I've never done any of it. I like have an idea, and maybe I've seen it done, but I just jump in, and the results end up decent, end up good. Um So yeah, it's really like and I'm talking about me on a property and everything, but there's things that you can do in your life that are like, to just build up your portfolio of like life skills. And even like you talk about a lot of even personal, like personable skills, like talking to people and being a willing participant. We need people who are willing participants. I wasn't always a willing participant. Like I said, I spent a few couple years on Zach's channel before I like ever even like. I mean, I talked in the chat a little bit, but it was mainly just to point things out, and like I didn't talk to anybody in there or anything like that. Most I got was like a charmed one, "Hey." The good old days. But, uh, yeah, I mean, there's such a difference between being a willing participant and like a wallflower or a wallfly, whatever the word is, fly on the wall. And so, yeah, work on being a willing participant, and I like in like all aspects. It makes everything easier, and because that's one thing that's really difficult. But then apart from that as well is the practical skills, and um, getting closer to being able to appreciate things again. Yeah, I people don't appreciate what they're doing because there's no appreciation to be had. There, you shouldn't. People might feel like they appreciate certain things that are worldly and that they're into right now that are like heavily pushed and everything like that. But like I always like to say, there'll come a day where you confront yourself. You'll be face to face with yourself, and all these things that you've given your time and energy to that don't actually result in a real appreciation for what you've been working at, that's going to weigh on your soul. That's going to, you're going to form regret. Regret's not a good thing. Regret is a terrible thing. You can learn from regret, but don't keep regret. You should never keep regret. And so yeah, these things are going to fester in the average person that doesn't know they're up against you know, spiritual battle. I told you, this is a religious episode. This is our religious episode. Um, but apart from that, the heavily psychological battle that people are up against, and what I was talking about before, how these, people are more than willing to drag themselves down and their neighbors down with them. And also what I said before is, before these things snowball out of control, catch them when it's just a little snowball, not when it's a huge snowman. That's going to be impossible to roll back up the hill. Catch it while it's small. Have more, quicker discernment on things. And I'm talking to myself right now too, people. I'm talking to myself. I'm training myself by saying it too, because this is something that is hard to do. It is not something that is just simple. You have to work at it mentally. It's one thing to be tired and exhausted from physical work. It's another to be tired and exhausted from like mental work. And it does take that. And I'm not talking about better help. So I'm talking about you better helping yourself, um, and confronting hard to confront things, or even talking about them. Like that's one thing, that's what I was mentioning earlier about my son, as I tell him about the weird hard things that I've had to go through that I had to mentally maneuver. It's one thing to talk about what I did to get out of a situation physically but it's a whole nother to explain, because that could resonate, you know, that might hit him at a time where he really needs to understand that. And he would either have somebody that never told him about that, or he has me who did tell him about that, and he'll have a reference point, and that might help him, like I say, identify the snowball before it starts rolling.
Yeah, that's such a big thing. Is um, like you were saying, how kind of how you came in the community and how you kind of came up, and like I said, I mean, when I was doing a lot of research, back in like 2010, 2012, especially 2013, 2014, and then found Zach there, in 2014. I was 19. I wasn't, um, I was 19, 20, 21. I was in a completely different place in my life. I was, I knew Zach. I knew the channel and stuff, but I wasn't out here, and I was, yeah, I always wanted to meet Zach and meet him in person. And I finally did that. There in 2022, there at March for Our Lives. 2.5 years ago, in June of 2022. Um, yeah, I met up with Zach, 3 times in 2023, and once last year, 2024, and that was the biggest thing. I just wanted to meet Zach, and I just wanted to, finally meet after all these years and come out here, and I wanted to, just work and improve myself too. And that's kind of what I've done since I've been out here. I mean, that I came back to, especially since Wyoming too. And when I came back here, I was 27 in 2022, and um, that's one of the biggest ways I've kind of improved as a person too, because I wasn't really someone, like I said, I mean, I had gone out and, chalked up the parks and, had COVID hoax stickers and talked to and stuff, but, I didn't pound the pavement, I didn't, wasn't doing like public speaking. I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't, I didn't have, we didn't have YouTube. We weren't doing any of this. And I was just wanted to do more and wanted to learn more, wanted to get more involved. And that's just the thing on me, is I just want to do things. And it's just like, it's just like with everything else. It's like you want to get more flexible. You want to, have, if you do more stretching and more intense stretching, and then you want to, have better agility. So you go, uh, the trampoline park more often. You go jump on trampolines more. You do more flips. You want to do, more running. You want to, get more stamina, get more stronger. You go to the gym, you lift weights. It's just what you want to do, and have things follow through and connect through there. I mean, it's, uh, a big thing. I think, yeah, especially for myself, going forward, is I figure things out this year as well as to what I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to be. It's just it's connections. A lot of it is connections in life. People that you or you have, people that want to work with you. And that's just the hard thing. It is hard with a lot of people. It's, some people, they are hard to talk to. Some people it's easy, but um, because I mean, you never know who the right person is that you could talk to, that's going to lead you to someone who's going to lead you to where you need to go. And I think that's the big thing. I think that we've talked about tonight has been the what has to change majorly is, um, people just, and I get why some people, they don't. And a lot of it is a school system too, because you come up in the school system and you don't want to, they get you in front of the classroom talking about some stupid book or some book talk that you got too much ADHD to read and care about, and then or something stupid you don't care about, and then, but when it's things you care about and things you actually mean and want to say and want to do, it's completely different. And everyone's meant to learn differently. I mean, I wasn't someone who, I have too much ADHD. I can't go to school. I can't sit in a classroom. I can't go to the same building every day. I mean, I just go nuts. I mean, I can't learn like that. I can't be like that. Everyone's different. Everyone learns different. Everyone's a different person. But it's just, that's the thing. I mean, I was someone who, the way I came up, I had to just, do little things and improve little parts of life at a time. And there's still things I definitely need to do and work on and improve, and hopefully will sooner, rather than later. But um, I think that's more important than anything. I mean, if somebody said, oh, if you won, since I've been back here, it's like, oh, what would be better for you if you won $1 million but didn't really improve your life, or, have like the same amount of money or less or maybe a little bit more, but oh, you improved all these areas. So this is what matters to me. This is what I care about. I think this is the attitude that people need to start adapting, before it's too late, if it already is too late. Because I think this is the killer in society. Um, because then you get people like me. I mean, I know I could motivate and inspire people. It's like, imagine me if the kids came to school and got to see me every day. I mean, there wouldn't be any obese fat kids. I mean, I would just shut the shit right down. I mean, these are the things in life that people have to, um, come to grips with, and this is where we're lacking right now. And I think this is the big thing, because, like you said, you kind of have came up, and you've made your steps now. Like, we got the channel and everything, and I've done the same thing. And to me, it's all about where we go from here, because this is what more people need to do. I mean, I do as much as I can in a lot of areas. Like, some days, like, could you do more? Could you maybe talk to this person? Could you have done this? Yeah, it's like, and a lot of it is hard too, because it's just like sometimes I just have to just. It's like the last couple days, like it was cold. I had a long week. Great workouts. My body was tired, sore, so I didn't really do anything yesterday. Today, I just kind of took the 2 days off, let my body rec- uh, rest and recover, and uh, you know build. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to take a day or two off, and get back to it after that. That's another thing too. It's, when I start feeling burnt out or too tired, or because I do that all the time. I will burn myself out and burn myself up, and then I sometimes I got to catch myself and get better at that too, and then take a day or two off, and then you come back and you're right back in it again. That's a big thing, and that's going to be something that people are going to have to deal with, because I mean, the time's coming ahead, especially this year. I mean, people are going to be, you know emotionally, mentally, uh, despaired, disabled. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, they just wear you down on every aspect. I mean, physically, mentally, emotionally, just tearing you up. And these are things that I've had to do in my life, is and that's why I live the life that I live, and this is how I cope with this, how I deal with it. You work out, you just do these things, and then everything else just kind of follows, and then you just you get a routine, or you get a um, little hobbies going or something, and then you get things going, and it's like all of a sudden now you just kind of see it play out. I mean, I it's like I said, if I could, the only thing I really don't have, like I said, is money and finances, shit like that. But I mean, to me, like I said, I rather be who I am, doing what I'm doing, and have the importance that I have, than be just some average Joe, or even someone in the community who doesn't do anything. I mean, because to me, at least, I look at myself like, hey, I mean, you may not win in the end, but you gave it everything you had, and you progressed, and you did what you needed to do in this life for the most part. I mean, some people, it just takes time, and like I said, I mean, I feel like I'm hitting my peak right now. So, um, in all levels, I mean, strength, everything. I mean, I'm just like at that point, and it's all about where we go from here. And this is what everyone has to do. I mean, because if we don't, like to use the word accountability. It's like a lot of people don't like to, take accountability for things, but um, it's like we said, if everybody could be like us, there wouldn't have been, COVID in 2020, and all that. And that's where things have to change. Has to change on small levels. Um, and then from there, it's just all about what you can acquire. I mean, there's a lot of skills and things I wish I had to, or I wish I learned, or I was better at, or hopefully, like I said, I get to improve on as well, because that's just what it comes down to. I mean, you think about the time, and you brought up such a great point, last episode, how we've been documenting this, for so long. It feels like we're doing the first episode or first two episodes, but you know, look at how many weeks have gone by, how much time has gone by, documenting that. That's an amazing thing. I mean, you think about it, you go back to August when we first met each other. You go back to that time, things were completely different.
Mhm.
Different time already. And you think about where we're going to be when August comes again, it's going to look completely different again. Your life's going to be completely different again. That's the thing. I mean, um, and out of that, we got this, and I think that's the biggest thing right now. Because I mean, there's people in the community that, like I said, anyone that ever wants to come on here too, and whether they have stuff to share and they got stuff to talk about, and they or something for us, or whatever it is. I mean, I'm always all ears. I mean, I like to hear what other people have to say, um, and that's just the way I am. It's just like I've always been kind of a more in person person too. That's why I've never really did YouTube or anything. I was always, to me, I rather have just gone out and trying to pound pavement, or come together or do stuff like that. But now that we got this going, I mean, it's this is what, to me, like I said, it's like all we have. I mean, and then if we, that's the thing. Like I said, when we come together, we meet up, we do things, um, and that's should motivate and inspire the people. I mean, there's such few people that even, like I said, want to meet up, and that's another thing too. That's got to improve too. Is people just want to meet up and do things, and um, want to come together. Because if like I said, you get more people together, the more people you have, the more powerful you're going to be. And if we could get people that, like I said, want to just, like, if we were ever out pounding pavement, and then someone, wanted, if we ever like planned something and people wanted to come out and come meet us or come see us. I mean, like I said, I don't know where a lot of people are at, or where there's some people that are kind of close, but I'm always down to meet up people, and um, see people in person. Feel people's energies, feel people's vibes. Um, and to me, that's what it's all about. And then you just keep doing that, because we just got to change these people that are hide in their house. I'm getting so tired of it. People just don't want to come outside anymore. They don't want to look at you. They don't want to talk to you. They're in their own world. It's got to change. And unless it changes, I mean, there's really nothing else we can do at this point, because I mean, people just have to have that will, that fight. They have to find it, and they have to just come out of the shell. Like, people are like little turtles. They're tucked in their shell. They're hiding, and they just they got to poke their head out and just realize, oh, look at that, I can go outside, I can breathe, I can do whatever I want to do. There's no fear, there's no terror, there's no scary germs that are going to get me. I'm fine. Once people realize that, they're good to go. It's baby steps. They just got to take that first little baby step, and then once they take it, they'll never. It's like riding a bike. You never forget, and if you do forget, well, you'll get back on, you'll learn again, and you'll get going again. That's how it is.
Couldn't say it better myself. And yeah, I think if anybody listens to any, part of this podcast, I would say, this last 30 minutes was, I think, the best of our philosophical takes. But I would say I didn't plan on it being such a philosophical episode, but I guess that's just what happens, because we're speaking from the heart, and we're you have all these crazy things happening in the world, and there is something to be said about those. And um I guess for people who are looking for the more uh uniform gematria lens on all the things that we talked about, and then some, please do visit Gematria Effect News, right there at the link. It'll be in the description box as well. um but yeah, I really enjoyed just riffing, I guess, if you will. But I think that was a perfect capper, that last gasp he gave right there. And so for next week, who knows what we'll have? We're gonna have a new president. I mean, I guess not really. We've had this president for a while now, but technically, um, who knows? I'm sure that there'll be some craziness lined up for tomorrow. It's in the morning too, so it's like it's the butt crack of dawn. I ain't catching that. I mean, I'm a I had to wake up at super early today. It's just not my cup of tea. It can be, but it's not in the mode that I'm in my life right now. I do a lot of nighttime work, and so I'm sure I'll wake up to some stories. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm sure my news feed will already be loaded by the time I wake up. 'Cause I think it's like 8 o'clock Pacific time that the inauguration's happening, which is also kind of funky too.
Yeah.
They're just trying to scoot this thing in super early. Um, I guess that's just how they do it. Whatever. But yeah, we'll see what stories for next week, and if anyone has any suggestion, the little scrolling bar at the bottom has our email, as does our the link in our description. We'll have our email for any ideas. Also, feel free to leave comments about whatever, about whoever. I don't. We don't care. We try to get back to every single comment, and I think we have so far. So without going on too much further, I think that's the perfect place to end it. And have a great day, or have a great night. Deuces.
Peace.